Chapters 1 through 6 of the Book of Numbers, from the Holy Bible in Modern English, translated by FERRAR FENTON. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information, or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapter 1. The Ever-Living also spoke to Moses in the desert of Sinai at the hall of assembly, in the 1st month, in the 2nd year of the years, after coming from the land of the Mitzrayim, commanding, Record the names of all the chiefs of the children of Israel by the families of their ancestors in the register of names, each man from his own roll, from 20 years old and upwards, all who can go to war of the children of Israel. You and Aaron organize them into their own regiments. They must be assigned each to his own tribe, each to the captain of the house of his ancestors. And these are the names of the men you shall appoint over them. To Reuben, Elizur, the son of Shedaiah. To Simeon, Shamuliel, the son of Zurishaddai. To Judah, Machshan, the son of Aminadab. To Issachar, Nachishan, the son of Zoar. To Zebulun, Eliab, the son of Chilon. To the sons of Joseph, to Ephraim, Elishamar, the son of Ammihud. To Manasseh, Gamaliel, the son of Phedatzur. To Benjamin, Abidan, the son of Gidoni. To Dan, Achiezer, the son of Ammishaddai. To Asher, Phanuel, the son of Achnan. To Gad, Eliashur, the son of Reuel. To Naphtali, Achira, the son of Ainan. I have nominated these to be chiefs, to bear the standards of the tribes of their ancestors. They are the princes of the regiments of Israel. Moses and Aaron therefore took these men who were indicated to them by name, and they summoned all the chiefs of families on the 1st of the 2nd month. And they produced to them their records of the houses of their fathers, from the books of register, from 20 years old and upwards by their records, as the Ever-Living commanded to Moses and appointed in the desert of Sinai. And these were descendants of the sons of Reuben, the oldest son of Israel, according to the registers of their ancestral houses in the records of names on their heads. All males of 20 years old and upwards, all capable of army service, regimented under the standard of Reuben, 46,500. Of the men descended from Simeon, by the register of the house of their fathers, arranged from the records of names on their heads, all males of 20 years old and upwards, all capable of army service, regimented under the standard of Simeon, 59,600. Of the men descended from Gad, from the registers of their ancestral houses by the record of names, from 20 years old and upwards, all capable of army service, regimented under the standard of Gad, 45,650. Of the men descended from Judah, by the register of their ancestral houses, by the record of names, from 20 years old and upwards, all capable of army service, regimented under the standard of Judah, 74,600. Of the men descended from Issachar, by the registers of their ancestral houses in the record of names, from 20 years old and upwards, all capable of army service, regimented under the standard of Issachar, 50,400. Of the men descended from Zebulun, by the registers of their ancestral houses in the record of names, from 20 years old and upwards, all capable of army service, regimented under the standard of Zebulun, 57,400. Of the men of Joseph, of the sons descended from Ephraim, by the registers of their ancestral houses, by the record of names, from 20 years old and upwards, all capable of army service, regimented under the standard of Ephraim, 40,500. Of the men descended from Manasseh, by the registers of their ancestral houses, by the record of names, from 20 years old and upwards, all capable of army service, regimented under the standard of Manasseh, 30,200. Of the men descended from Benjamin, by the registers of their ancestral houses, by the record of names, from 20 years old and upwards, all capable of army service, regimented under the standard of Benjamin, 35,400. Of the men descended from Dan, by the registers of their ancestral houses, by the record of names, from 20 years old and upwards, all capable of army service, regimented under the standard of Dan, 62,700. Of the men descended from Asher, by the registers of their ancestral houses, by the record of names, from 20 years old and upwards, all capable of army service, regimented under the standard of Asher, 41,500. Of the men descended from Naphtali, by the registers of their ancestral houses, by the record of names, from 20 years old and upwards, all capable of army service, regimented under the standard of Naphtali, 53,400. These were the army divisions that Moses and Aaron organized, and the generals of Israel were 12 men, each was appointed from the house of their fathers. And the officers of the children of Israel were all from the house of their fathers, from 20 years old and upwards, all capable of army service in Israel. And the total number of all the enrolled was 630,550. The Levites, however, were not enrolled among them. Then the Ever-Living spoke to Moses, commanding, "Regarding the tribe of Levi, you shall not enroll it, so that they may not raise their head in the midst of the sons of Israel. However, you shall organize the Levites for the sanctuary of the nation, and for all the services, and for all pertaining to them. They shall carry the sanctuary and all its furniture, and shall encamp round and guard the sanctuary. When the sanctuary is to advance, the Levites shall take it down, and when the sanctuary is to be pitched, the Levites shall raise it, and the stranger who approaches shall be killed. But the sons of Israel shall attend each to their own camp, and each to the flag of their regiments, whilst the Levites must attend about the sanctuary of the nation, that there may not be anger upon the nation of the sons of Israel. Therefore the Levites shall guard the sanctuary of the nation." The children of Israel consequently did all that the Ever-Living commanded to Moses. They did it. Chapter 2. The Ever-Living also spoke to Moses, commanding, "Let each encamp by his flag at the standard of the ancestral house of the sons of Israel. Let them begin to encamp around the hall of assembly on the east. The encampment on the east, from the sunrising, shall be for the standard of the camp of the army of Judah. And let Nachshon the son of Amminadab command the sons of Judah with his organized force of 74,600. And let the tribe of Issachar encamp next them, and the commander of the sons of Issachar be Nathaniel the son of Zoar, with his organized force of 50,400. Next, the tribe of Zebulun. Let the commander of the sons of Zebulun be Eliab the son of Calon, with his organized force of 57,400. All the regiments in the camp of Judah numbering 186,400. This force shall march first. The standard of Reuben shall be on the south with its force, and the commander of the sons of Reuben shall be Eleazar the son of Shedeur, with his organized force of 46,500. And let the tribe of Simeon encamp next them, and the commander of the tribe of Simeon be Shelumiel the son of Zurishaddai, and his organized force be 59,600. Then the tribe of Gad, and let the commander of the sons of Gad be Elisaph the son of Reuel, with his organized force of 45,650. All the organized forces in the camp of Reuben were 151,450, and this division shall march second. But the camp of the hall of assembly shall march with the Levites between the camps, as they encamp. They shall march each alongside of their flag. Let the standard of the camp of Ephraim with his force be on the west, and the commander of the sons of Ephraim shall be Elishama the son of Ammihud, and his organized force be 40,500. And next to him let there be the tribe of Manasseh. And the commander of the sons of Manasseh shall be Gamaliel the son of Phedatzur, and his organized force be 32,200. Then the tribe of Benjamin, and the commander of the sons of Benjamin shall be Abidan the son of Gideoni, and his organized force be 35,400. All the enrollments in the camp of Ephraim were 108,100. They shall march third with their force. Let the standard of the tribe of Dan be on the north with its force. And the commander of the sons of Dan shall be Achiezer the son of Ammishaddai, and his organized force be 62,700. And let the tribe of Asher encamp next them, and the commander of the sons of Asher shall be Phanuel the son of Akron, and his organized force was 140,500. Then the tribe of Naphtali, and let the commander of the sons of Naphtali be Achira the son of Anan, and his organized force be 53,400. All the enrollments in the camp of Dan were 157,600, who marched in the rear after their flags. These were the divisions of the children of Israel by their ancestral houses. The numbers in the regiments, in the camps of their forces, were 603,550. But the Levites were not enrolled among the sons of Israel, as the Ever-Living commanded to Moses. The children of Israel did as the Ever-Living commanded to Moses. They encamped by their regiments, and thus they marched, each with his family, by the house of their fathers. Chapter 3. The following were the children of Aaron and Moses at the time the Ever-Living spoke with Moses at Mount Sinai. And these are the names of the sons of Aaron: the eldest Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. These were the names of the sons of Aaron, the consecrated priest, who filled the office of priests. But Nadab and Abihu died before the Lord, when they offered strange fire before the Ever-Living in the wilderness of Sinai. And they had no sons, so Eleazar and Ithamar became priests in the presence of Aaron their father. Then the Ever-Living spoke to Moses, saying, Present the tribe of Levi, and station them before Aaron the priest, and they shall serve with him, and guard what is entrusted to him, and the trusts of all the congregation in the hall of assembly, and perform the services of the sanctuary. They shall also guard all the furniture of the hall of assembly, and the trusts of the children of Israel, and perform the services of the sanctuary. Therefore give the Levites to Aaron and his sons, presenting them to him as an offering for the children of Israel, and instruct Aaron and his sons that they must preserve the priesthood, and the stranger who approaches it shall die. The Ever-Living also spoke to Moses, commanding, I also now have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel, so the Levites shall be mine, for all the firstborn were mine at the time when I cut off all the firstborn in the land of the Mitzrayim. I then dedicated all the firstborn of Israel to myself, from man and also from beast. They shall be mine. I am the Ever-Living. The Ever-Living also spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, commanding, Organize the sons of Levi by their ancestral houses from their registers. You must organize every male from a month old and upwards. Moses consequently organized them as the Ever-Living commanded. And these were the sons of Levi by their names: Gershon, and Kehath, and Merari. And these were the names of the sons of Gershon by their registers: Libni and Shimei. And the sons of Kehath by their registers: Amram and Itzar, Cabron and Uzziel. And the sons of Merari by their registers: Machlai and Mashai. These are from the registers of the ancestral houses of Levi, from the registers of Gershon, from the registers of Libni, from the registers of Shimei. These were from the registers of the Gershonites. They were organized from the books, every male from a month old and upwards. Their enrollment was 7,500. The families of the Gershonites shall encamp behind the sanctuary to the westward, and the commander of the house of the Gershonites shall be Eliasaph the son of Lael. Thus the duties of the sons of Gershon shall be in the hall of assembly about the sanctuary, and the sacred tabernacle, and the screen before the entrance of the hall of assembly, and the curtains of the court, and the screen at the entrance of the court that is above the sanctuary, and around the altar, and all the instruments for the whole of the services. And those enrolled from the families of the Amramites, and from the families of the Izharites, and from the families of the Cabronites, and from the families of the Asrielites, those who were from the families of Caharites according to the register, All the males from a month old and upwards were 8,600 to form the guard of the holy place. The families of the sons of Kehath shall encamp upon the south side of the sanctuary, and the commander of the families of Kehathites shall be Elizaphan the son of Aziel. They shall be entrusted with the ark, and the table, and the lamp, and the altars, and the sacred furniture, which they shall guard, with the screen and all the appliances of the services. The prince who commands the Levites shall be Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest, who shall be appointed to guard the sacred trusts. But in conjunction with Merari were the families of Machli and the family of Mushai. They were with the family of Merari. They were also enrolled in the register, every male from a month old and upwards, 6,200. And the commander of the ancestral house of Merari shall be Zuriel the son of Abicail. They shall encamp at the north side of the sanctuary. And the duties of the sons of Merari shall be the guardianship of the planks of the sanctuary, and the crossbars, and the pillars, and the bases, and all the appurtenances, as well as the pillars of the surrounding court, and their bases, and the spikes and ropes. But Moses and Aaron shall encamp before the sanctuary on the east, in front of the hall of assembly. And Aaron and his sons shall guard the sacred things confided to them in trust for the children of Israel. And if a stranger approaches, he shall be killed. All the enrollments of the Levites that Moses and Aaron organized before the ever-living from their families, all males from a month old and upwards, were 22,000. The ever-living also said to Moses, Take a census of every firstborn male of the children of Israel from a month old and upwards, and record them in a register by name. But you shall separate the Levites for myself, I, the ever-living, instead of all the firstborn of the children of Israel, and the cattle of the Levites also instead of the firstborn of the cattle of the children of Israel. Moses therefore enumerated as the ever-living commanded him, every male of the children of Israel, and all the firstborn males were recorded in the register of names, from a month old and upwards, to the number of 40,273. The ever-living afterwards spoke to Moses, commanding, Separate the Levites instead of the firstborn of the children of Israel, and the cattle of the Levites instead of their cattle. The Levites shall be mine. I am the ever-living. And for the redemption of the firstborn of the children of Israel in excess of the number, take 5 shekels for each head, by the sacred shekel. Let there be 20 grains to a shekel, and give the money to Aaron and his sons to redeem that excess. Moses consequently collected the money for their ransom from the persons in excess of the firstborn who were ransomed from the children of Israel. The tax by that money produced 1,365 shekels by the sacred shekel. Moses gave the money of the ransom to Aaron and his sons before the ever-living, as the ever-living commanded to Moses. Chapter 4. The ever-living also commanded Moses, Enumerate the persons of the sons of Kehath from among the sons of Levi by the registers of their ancestral house, from the age of 30 years and upwards to 50 years, all capable of army service, to conduct the business of the hall of assembly. The work of the sons of Kehath shall be in the hall of assembly, holy of holies. But Aaron and his sons shall proceed to pitch the tabernacle, and to take down the veil of the screen, and to cover with it the ark of witnesses. And they shall put over it the covering of badgers' skins, and spread the beautiful azure cloth over all, and put in the staves. And spread the azure cloth over the table of the presence, and place upon it the dishes, and the cups, and the hammers, and the coronal, and the pitcher, and the bread arranged upon it. Then they shall spread over them the blue-red cloth, and cover it with the covering of badger skin, and put the staves into its handles. Then take the azure cloth, and cover the lamps of light, and the reflectors, and the snuffers, and their dishes, and collect the whole of the furniture, whose guardianship is with them, and place them and the whole of the furniture under the covering of badger skin, and put them on the wagons. They shall also spread the azure cloth over the golden altar, and cover it with the covering of badger skin, and put its staves into it. They shall also take the whole of the instruments, the custody of which is with them, to the holy place, and cover with the azure cloth, and wrap them in the covering of badger skin, and put them on the wagons. They shall also clean the altar, and spread over it the purple cloth, and place upon it all its instruments, whose custody is with them, the shovels, the rakes, and sprinklers, and the brushes, and all the instruments of the altar, and spread over them a covering of badger skin, and put the staves into the handles. And Aaron and his sons shall complete the covering of the sanctuary, and the whole of the sacred furniture, at the striking of the camp. And afterwards the sons of Kohath shall come to carry them, but they shall not approach the sanctuary for fear of death. The sons of Kohath shall carry them to the hall of assembly, and Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest shall provide oil for the lamps, and sweet incense, and pure offerings, and oil of consecration, having the care of all the sanctuary and all that is in it, with the holy place and all its furniture. The ever-living also commanded Moses and Aaron, Separate for me the family of the Kohathites from amongst the Levites, and do this to them, so that they may live and not die. Let Aaron and his sons conduct them up to the Holy of Holies, and set each of them to the work he is to do, and to his labor. But they shall not approach to see, except the covering of the sacred things, for fear of death. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, Enumerate the individuals of the sons of Gershon from the registers of their ancestral house, from 30 years old and upwards to 50 years old. Organize all of them capable of army service, to perform the work of the hall of assembly. These are the services for the families of the Gershonites to work and carry out. They shall carry the curtains of the sanctuary, and cover the hall of assembly with the covering of badger skin that is extended above it, and the screen at the door of the hall of assembly, and the curtains of the court that is around the sanctuary, and the altar, and the ropes, and all the furniture of the services. All this is their service. The sons of the Gershonites shall be under the direction of Aaron and his sons, for any service, for any carrying, and for any labor, and you shall organize them for every labor by their families. This shall be the service of the families of the Gershonites at the hall of assembly, and also their duties under the order of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. Organize the sons of Merari from the registers of their ancestral house, from 30 years old up to 50 years old. Organize all capable of army service, to do the work of the hall of assembly. And this is their duty to carry in all the appliances of the hall of assembly, the planks of the sanctuary, and the crossbars, and the pillars and their sockets, with the pillars of the court around it, and their sockets, and pegs, and ropes, with all the furniture and all the instruments, and they shall pack up the furniture carefully for carriage. This shall be the duty of the family of the sons of Merari in all their service in the hall of assembly, under the orders of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. Moses consequently organized, and Aaron enumerated the family of the sons of Kohathites from the registers of their ancestral house, from the age of 30 years and upwards to 50 years of age, all capable of army service, for work in the hall of assembly. And there were organized from the registers 1,750. These were enrolled from the registers of the Kohathites, all for service in the hall of assembly, as Moses and Aaron were instructed from the presence of the ever-living by the hand of Moses. The sons of Gershon were thus enrolled from the registers of their ancestral house, from 30 years of age and upwards to 50 years old, all capable of army service, to serve in the hall of assembly. And there were enrolled from the registers of their ancestral house 1,660. They were organized from the families of the sons of Gershon, all for service in the hall of assembly, whom Moses and Aaron organized by the command of the ever-living. There were also enrolled from the families of the sons of Merari, from the registers of their ancestral house, from 30 years of age upwards to 50 years old, all capable of army service, for the service of the hall of assembly, and their number was by the registers 3,200. These were enrolled from the registers of the sons of Merari, whom Moses and Aaron appointed by an order from the ever-living by the hand of Moses. Moses and Aaron and the princes of Israel, with the Levites, appointed all those enrolled from the registers of their ancestral houses, from 30 years of age and upwards to 50 years old, who were all to execute the duties of the service, and do the carrying in the hall of assembly. And their number was 9,580. They were appointed by order of the ever-living, by the hand of Moses, every one to his duty, and to his office and appointment, as the ever-living commanded to Moses. Chapter 5. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, Command the children of Israel that they must send out of the camp all afflicted by contagious disease, and all with venereal diseases, and all of foul life, whether male or female, so that they may not infect the camp in the midst of which I dwell. The children of Israel accordingly did so, and sent them to the outside of the camp, as the ever-living had commanded to Moses. The children of Israel did it. Then the ever-living commanded to Moses, saying, Say to the children of Israel, the man or woman who perversely commits any human sin against the ever-living, that person is guilty. But if they make confession of the sin which they have committed, and would remedy the wrong they have done, and remove it from them, let them add a fifth part to it, and give to him who has been wronged. But if the man does not possess the means of restoration for the wrong he has done, the culprit shall return to the ever-living by the priest, in place of it, a ram as an expiation which shall expiate for him as to the wrong. And every such oblation consecrated by the children of Israel, which they offer through the priest, shall be the priest's. But whatever a person devotes must be his own property, and what a man gives to the priest shall be the priest's property. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, If a man suspects his wife of having gone astray, and of a man having had sinful intercourse with her, and that his wife has hidden from his sight that she has been defiled, but he has no witness of it, and she has not been divorced, yet the breath of suspicion has passed over her, and he suspects his wife that she has been defiled, or that a breath of suspicion has passed over her, and he suspects his wife although she may not have been defiled, then the man shall bring his wife to the priest, and shall bring as a gift for her with her 1/12 of an ephah of barley meal, without any oil poured upon it, nor shall he put incense with it, for it is an offering of jealousy, an offering of remembrance for reminding of frailty. Then the priest shall make her advance, and place her before the ever-living, when the priest shall take holy water in an earthenware cup, and some dust that is on the floor of the sanctuary, and put it into the water. The priest shall then station the woman before the ever-living, and uncover the woman's head, and place in her hands the gift of remembrance, the gift of jealousy, and the bitter water of cursing shall be in the hand of the priest. The priest shall also administer an oath to her, and say to the woman, If a man has not had connection with you, and if you have not turned to a seducer instead of your husband, be free from the water of this bitter curse. But if you have turned to another than your husband, with whom you have been sinning, and that a man has been to you instead of your husband, here the priest shall swear the woman with this oath, and the priest shall say to the woman, Then may the ever-living make you a curse and imprecation among your relatives. May the ever-living make your thigh to rot and your belly to swell, and may this water of cursing become in your bowels as rottenness to the bowels, and as swelling to your thigh. Then the woman shall say, So let it be, so let it be. The priest shall afterwards write these curses on a tablet, and wash them off with the bitter water, and the woman shall drink the water of the bitter curses, and swallow the water of the bitter curses. Then the priest shall take from the hand of the woman the gift of jealousy, and wave the gift before the ever-living, and offer it upon the altar. The priest shall also take a handful from the remembrance, and cause it to be burnt at the altar, and after that the woman shall drink the water, and the water drunk shall, if she has been corrupted and has dishonored her husband, then become a bitter curse, and swell her belly, and rot her thigh, and the woman shall be a curse in the circle of her relatives. But if the woman has not defiled herself, and is pure, then she shall be free from them, and be conceiving children. These are the laws about the suspicion that a woman has turned from her husband and degraded herself, or for a man where there passes over him the breath of suspicion, and he suspects his wife, and brings her before the ever-living. The priest shall proceed towards them according to this enactment, and free the husband from his passion, and thus continue the woman's marriage rights. Chapter 6. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, Speak to the children of Israel, and say that a man or woman may dedicate themselves by a vow. The Nazarite, by separation to the ever-living, shall not consume grapes or sugar, fermented grapes or fermented sugar, nor shall he drink any decoction of intoxicating berries, or consume cakes of those berries, or their powder. During the days of dedication he shall not consume anything which is made from the vine plant, from its roots to its skins. Nor during the period of his dedication shall a razor be passed over his head until he has completed the time for which he dedicated himself to the ever-living. The flowing locks of the hair of his head shall be sacred to the ever-living. Nor shall he, during the whole period of his dedication to the ever-living, approach to a dead body, nor defile himself for his father or his mother or his brother or his sister if they die, for the dedication to his God is upon his head. All the period of his dedication he is sacred to the ever-living. Even if anyone shall die near him suddenly, that instant will defile the dedication of his head. To purify himself he shall shave his head on the same day, and it shall be shaven again on the 7th day. And on the 8th day he shall bring 2 turtle-doves or 2 young pigeons to the priest at the door of the hall of assembly. And the priest shall use one of them for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering, and expiate for him about the defilement of his body, and his head shall be sanctified in that day. But he shall separate himself anew for his dedication to the ever-living, and bring a he-lamb of 1 year as a trespass offering, for the previous period has failed by a defect in his separation. And these are the rules for the Nazarite at the day when he completes the period of his separation. He shall come to the door of the hall of assembly, and present as his gift to the ever-living a perfect he-lamb of the year for a burnt offering, and a perfect ewe-lamb of the year for a trespass offering, and a perfect ram for a peace offering, and a basket of cakes of flour mixed with oil, with their food and drink offerings, and the priest shall offer them before the ever-living, and make the sin offering and the burnt offering. But of the ram he shall make a sacrifice of thanks to the ever-living with the basket of cakes, and the priest shall also offer the food offering and the drink offering. He shall then shave the Nazarite at the door of the hall of assembly, at the end of his dedication, and take the hair of his head that he had dedicated, and put it upon the fire which is under the sacrifice of thanks. Then the priest shall take the boiled shoulder of the ram, and one of the unfermented cakes from the basket, and one of the thin cakes, and put them into one of the hands of the Nazarite who is being released from his dedication. Then the priest shall wave them before the ever-living. They shall be sacred to the priest, as well as the raised breast and the raised leg, and the Nazarite may afterwards drink wine. These are the laws of separation when anyone vows to give himself to the ever-living. He shall not dedicate himself unless he knows he is able to perform what his mouth has vowed. When he has vowed, he shall perform it, by this law of separation. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, Speak to Aaron and to his sons. You shall bless the children of Israel in this way, saying, The Lord bless you and guard you. The Lord spread his canopy over you and be gracious to you. The Lord make his face beam upon you, and give you peace. Then I will place my name upon the children of Israel, and bless them. The end of chapters 1 through 6. Chapters 7 through 12 of the Book of Numbers, from the Holy Bible in Modern English, translated by FERRAR FENTON. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapter 7. And when the time came that the sanctuary was finished, Moses erected and consecrated and sanctified it with all its furniture, and the altar and all its instruments, and sanctified them. Then the princes of Israel, the heads of their ancestral houses, the princes of the tribes, and the commanders of regiments approached, and brought as their gifts to present to the ever-living 6 covered wagons and 12 bullocks, a wagon for 2 princes, and a bullock for each, and presented them before the sanctuary. Then the ever-living spoke to Moses, commanding, Receive them, and they shall be to perform the work of the hall of assembly. Therefore give them to the Levites, each according to the amount of their work. Moses consequently accepted the wagons and the bullocks and gave them to the Levites. He allotted 2 wagons and 4 of the bullocks to the sons of Gershon for their work. And 4 of the wagons and 8 of the bullocks he allotted to the sons of Merari for their work, under the control of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. But to the sons of Kehath he gave none, for the sacred work they did was laid upon their shoulders. The princes also came forward at the dedication of the altar on the day of its consecration, and the princes presented their gifts before the altar. But the ever-living said to Moses, "Let them offer their gifts at the dedication of the altar, 1 prince a day, then another prince a day." So Nachshon the son of Amminadab of the tribe of Judah presented his gift the first day. And his gift was a silver dish of 130 shekels, a silver watering can of 70 shekels by the sacred weights, both filled with fine flour mixed with oil as a food offering, 1 cup made of gold full of incense, a bullock from the fold, a ram, a sheep of the year for a burnt offering, 1 he-goat for a sin offering, and 2 bullocks for a sacrifice of thanks, with 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5 sheep of a year old. These were the gift of Nachshon the son of Amminadab. On the second day Nathaniel the son of Zoar, prince of Issachar, came forward. He offered as his gift a silver dish of 130 shekels, a silver watering pot of 70 shekels by the sacred weight, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil as a food offering, a cup made of gold full of incense, a bullock from the fold, a ram, a sheep of the year for a burnt offering, a he-goat for a sin offering, and as a sacrifice of thanks, 2 bullocks, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5 sheep of a year old. This was the offering of Nathaniel the son of Zoar. On the third day the prince of the sons of Zebulun, Eliab the son of Calon, presented a silver dish of 130 shekels, a silver watering can of 70 shekels by the sacred weights, both full of fine flour mixed with oil for a food offering, a cup made of gold full of incense, a bullock from the fold, a ram, a sheep of the year for a burnt offering, a he-goat for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of thanks, 2 bullocks, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old sheep. These were the gift of Eliab the son of Calon. On the fourth day the prince of the sons of Reuben, Eleazar the son of Shedaiah, presented a silver dish of 130 shekels, a silver watering can of 70 shekels by the sacred weights, both full of fine flour mixed with oil for a food offering, a cup made of gold full of incense, a bull from the fold, a ram, a lamb of the year for a burnt offering, a he-goat for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of thanks, 2 bullocks, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old sheep. These were the gift of Eleazar the son of Shedaiah. On the fifth day the prince of the sons of Simeon, Shelumiel the son of Zorishadai, presented a silver dish of 130 shekels by the sacred weight, a silver watering can of 70 shekels by the sacred shekel, both full of fine flour mixed with oil for a food offering, a cup made of gold full of incense, a bull from the fold, a ram, a year-old lamb for a burnt offering, a he-goat for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of thanks, 2 bullocks, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old sheep. These were the gift of Shelumiel the son of Zorishadai. On the sixth day the prince of the sons of Gad, Eliasaph the son of Rauel, presented a silver dish of 130 shekels by the sacred weight, a watering can of 70 shekels by the sacred weight, both full of fine flour mixed with oil for a food offering, a cup made of gold full of incense, a bull from the stall, a ram, a lamb of 1 year old for a burnt offering, and for a sacrifice of thanks, 2 bullocks, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old sheep. These were the gift of Eliasaph the son of Reuel. On the seventh day the prince of the sons of Ephraim, Elishama the son of Ammihud, presented a silver dish of 130 shekels, a silver watering can of 70 shekels by the sacred weights, both full of fine flour mixed with oil for a food offering, a cup made of gold full of incense, a bull from the fold, a ram, a sheep of a year old for a burnt offering, a he-goat for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of thanks, 2 bullocks, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5-year-old sheep. These were the gift of Elishama the son of Ammihud. On the eighth day the prince of the sons of Manasseh, Gamaliel the son of Fidatsur presented a silver dish of 130 shekels, a silver watering can of 70 shekels by the sacred weights, both full of fine flour mixed with oil for a food offering, a cup made of gold full of incense, a bull from the fold, a ram, a year-old sheep for a burnt offering, a he-goat for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of thanks, 2 bullocks, 5 rams, 5 sheep of a year old. These were the gift of Gamaliel the son of Fidatsur. On the 9th day the prince of the sons of Benjamin, Abidan the son of Gidoni, presented a silver dish of 130 shekels, a silver watering can of 70 shekels by the sacred weights, both full of fine flour mixed with oil as a food offering, a cup made of gold full of incense, a bull from the fold, a ram, a sheep of a year old for a burnt offering, and for a sacrifice of thanks, 2 bullocks, 5 rams, 5 year-old sheep. These were the gift of Abidan the son of Gidoni. On the 10th day the prince of the sons of Dan, Achiazar the son of Ammishaddai, presented a silver dish of 130 shekels, a silver watering can of 70 shekels by the sacred weights, both full of fine flour mixed with oil as a food offering, a cup made of gold full of incense, a bull from the fold, a ram, a year-old sheep for a burnt offering, a he-goat for a sin offering, and as a sacrifice of thanks, 2 bullocks, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5 year-old sheep. These were the gift of Achiazar the son of Ammishaddai. On the 11th day the prince of the sons of Asher, Phanuel the son of Akron, presented a silver dish of 130 shekels, a silver watering can of 70 shekels by the sacred weights, both full of fine flour mixed with oil, as a food offering, a cup made of gold full of incense, a bull from the fold, a ram, a sheep of a year old for a burnt offering, a he-goat for a sin offering, and for an offering of thanks, 2 bullocks, 5 rams, 5 goats, 5 year-old sheep. These were the gift of Phanuel the son of Akron. On the 12th day the prince of the sons of Naphtali, Achira the son of Anan, presented a silver dish of 130 shekels, a silver watering can of 70 shekels by the sacred weights, both full of fine flour mixed with oil for a food offering, a cup made of gold full of incense, a bull from the fold, a ram, a lamb of a year old for a burnt offering, a he-goat for a sin offering, and as a sacrifice of thanks, 2 bullocks, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5 sheep of a year old. These were the gift of Achira the son of Anan. These were dedicated on the altar at the time it was consecrated by the princes of Israel: 12 silver dishes, 12 silver watering cans, 12 cups made of gold. Each of the silver dishes was 130, and each of the watering cans 70. All the silver vessels were 1,400 by the sacred shekel. The cups of gold full of incense were 12, 10 to a cup by the sacred shekel. All the gold was 120. All the bullocks for burnt offerings were 12, the bulls and rams 12, the lambs of a year old 12, with their food offerings, and the he-goats were 12 for sin offerings. And all the cattle for the sacrifices of thanks, 24 bulls, 60 rams, 60 he-goats, 60 sheep of a year old. Thus the altar was dedicated after its consecration. Then Moses went into the hall of assembly to speak to him, and heard the voice speaking to him from the mercy seat, which is upon the ark of the witnesses, from between the 2 cherubim. There he spoke to him. Chapter 8. And the ever-living spoke to Moses, commanding, "Speak to Aaron, and say to him, when you set up the lamps opposite the reflectors, light the 7 lamps." Aaron consequently did so, erecting the lamps opposite the reflectors, as the ever-living commanded to Moses. And this was the form of the reflectors, concaves of gold on stalks at the cups. They were concave that they might reflect the light, as the ever-living showed Moses, so he made the reflectors. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, "Take the Levites from among the children of Israel and purify them. Purify them in this manner. Pour water for sin over them, and let them pass it naked over all their body, and wash their clothing, and purify themselves. Then take a bowl from the fold, with its food offering of fine flour mixed with oil, and a second bowl from the fold take for a sin offering, and present the Levites before the hall of assembly, and collect all the chiefs of the children of Israel. And when you have presented the Levites before the ever-living, then the children of Israel shall lay their hands upon the Levites, and Aaron shall wave the Levites before the ever-living for the children of Israel, and they shall be appointed to perform the services of the ever-living. Then the Levites shall lay their hands upon the head of the bowls, and Aaron shall make of the first a sin offering, and of the other a burnt offering to the ever-living to expiate for the Levites. Afterwards station the Levites before Aaron and before his sons, and wave them to the ever-living, and separate the Levites from the midst of the children of Israel, and the Levites shall be mine. And after that you shall bring the Levites to serve in the hall of assembly, but you must purify them and wave them, for they are a gift given to me from out of the children of Israel. I have taken them to myself instead of the firstborn product of the womb of all the children of Israel. For all the firstborn of the children of Israel were mine, of man or of beast, from the day when I cut off all the firstborn in the land of the Mitzrayim, I sanctified them to myself. Therefore I take the Levites instead of all the firstborn of the children of Israel, and I give the Levites to Aaron and to his sons from among the children of Israel, to perform the duties of the children of Israel in the hall of assembly, and to expiate for the children of Israel, and that the children of Israel may not be struck when the children of Israel approach to the sanctuary. Moses and Aaron consequently did in conjunction with all the chiefs of the families of the children of Israel to the Levites, according to all that the ever-living commanded to Moses regarding the Levites. The children of Israel did it to them. They also offered sin offerings for the Levites, and they washed their clothing, and Aaron waved them before the ever-living, and Aaron expiated for them, and purified them. And after that the Levites went to perform their duties in the hall of assembly before the ever-living. As Jehovah commanded to Moses about the Levites, so they did. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, The Levites shall do this. From the age of 25 and upwards they must serve in the duties of the hall of assembly, but at the age of 50 they shall retire from service in those duties, and not serve further, except to superintend their brothers in the hall of assembly, to keep guard, but not perform the services. This is how you shall arrange for the Levites who superintend. Chapter 9. The ever-living also spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the 2nd year after coming out from the land of the Mitzrayim in the 1st month, commanding, Let the children of Israel make the Passover in their assembly, offering it upon the 14th day of this month, between morning and evening. You shall sacrifice it in the assembly with all its ordinances and all its rites. Moses consequently spoke to the children of Israel to sacrifice the Passover. Therefore they offered the first Passover on the 14th day of the month between morning and evening in the wilderness of Sinai. The children of Israel did all that the ever-living commanded to Moses. But there were men who were unclean from a human corpse, so that they were not able to eat of the Passover or to sacrifice the Passover on that day. So they approached the presence of Moses and the presence of Aaron upon that day, and those men said, There is a defilement upon us from a human corpse, by which we are prevented from offering the gift to the ever-living in the assembly together with the children of Israel. When Moses replied, Stay, and I will hear what the ever-living commands about you. Then the ever-living spoke to Moses, commanding, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, Any one of you who may be unclean from a human corpse, or away upon a journey, or in your families, still let him sacrifice the Passover to the ever-living. In the 2nd month he shall offer it. It shall be eaten with unfermented bread and bitter herbs. None of it shall remain with you until the morning, and you shall not break a bone of it, but sacrifice it with all the ordinances of the Passover. And whoever may be clean, and has not been on a journey, and fails to sacrifice the Passover, that person shall be excommunicated from his relatives for not offering the gift to the ever-living with the assembly. That person is guilty for his sin. And if a foreigner resides with you and sacrifices the Passover to the ever-living, it must be with the ordinances of the Passover and its rites. It must be offered with the same ordinances by you, both for the foreigner and the native of the country. On the day of the erection of the sanctuary, the cloud covered the tabernacle of the hall of witnesses, and in the evening there was over the tabernacle like the light of fire until morning. So it was always. The cloud covered by day, and the light of fire at night. And when the cloud arose from off the hall, then the children of Israel marched, and at the place where the cloud settled, the children of Israel encamped. The children of Israel marched at the command of the ever-living, and they encamped at the command of the ever-living every day. They encamped where the cloud rested upon the tabernacle. But when the cloud rested upon the tabernacle many days, then the children of Israel watched the ever-living and did not march. And if the cloud remained a number of days upon the tabernacle by command of the ever-living, they encamped, and at the command of the ever-living they marched. But if the cloud remained from evening to morning, and the cloud went up at the morning, then they marched, whether day or night. Thus, when the cloud went up, they marched. But whenever for days, or a month, or long periods, the cloud rested upon the tabernacle, the children of Israel encamped, and did not march. But on it, going up, they marched. By command of the ever-living they marched. They waited the order of the ever-living by the hand of Moses. Chapter 10. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, Make 2 silver gongs for yourself. Make them concave, and use them to call the parliament, and to prepare the camp for marching, so that when you beat them, all the parliament will know how to come to you at the door of the hall of assembly. And if you beat one of them, the generals and colonels of the regiments of Israel will know to come to you. When you beat an arise, then the divisions of the camp on the east shall march. When you beat the arise a second time, the divisions of the camp on the south shall march. They shall prepare to march at the arise. But at the call for a meeting you shall blow a trumpet, not sound an arise. The sons of Aaron, the priest, shall beat the gongs, and this shall be a perpetual institution for your posterity. And when you go to war in your land, to distress those who distress you, terrify them with the gongs, and remember the presence of your ever-living God, and he will encourage you against your enemies. Also in the days of your festivals, and in your assemblies, and on the first of the months, beat the gongs with your burnt offerings, and with your thank offerings, and they shall be reminders for you before your God. I am the ever-living God. It occurred in the 2nd year, in the 12th month, that the cloud arose from off the tent of witnesses. So the children of Israel marched from the wilderness of Sinai, and the cloud settled on the wilderness of Paran. They also marched in divisions by the order of the ever-living, under the control of Moses. The standard of the sons of Judah marched in divisions as an army, and Nachshon the son of Amminadab was over that army. And Nathanael the son of Zoar was over the army of the tribe of the sons of Issachar. And Eliab the son of Calon was over the army of the sons of Zebulun. Then the sons of Gershon and the sons of Merari, having taken down the tabernacle, marched, carrying the tabernacle. Then the standard of the tribe of Reuben marched with their army, and Eleazar the son of Shadiar was over it. And Shelumiel the son of Zorishaddai was over the army of the tribe of Simeon. And Eliasaph the son of Deuel was over the army of the tribe of the sons of Gad. Then the Kehathites marched carrying the sanctuary, and they erected the tabernacle after the advance. Then the standard of the camp of the sons of Ephraim marched with their army, and Elishama the son of Ammihud was over that army. And Gamaliel the son of Phedatzur was over the army of the tribe of the sons of Manasseh. And over the army of the tribe of the sons of Benjamin was Abidan the son of Gidoni. Then marched the standard of the camp of the sons of Dan by regiments, with all the troops of their army, and Achazer the son of Ammishaddai was over that army. And Phanuel the son of Achan was over the army of the tribe of Asher. And Achirah the son of Anan was over the army of the sons of Naphtali. Thus the children of Israel marched. They marched by their armies. Moses, however, spoke to Reuel the Midianite, the father-in-law of Moses.
March with us to the place that the ever-living said to us, I will give it to you. March with us, and we will benefit you, for the ever-living has promised good to Israel.
But he replied to him,
I will not go from my country and from my children with you.
But he answered,
"Do not now forsake us, for you know the routes of the desert, and you can be eyes for us. And it shall be that if you will go with us, then when we receive the success the ever-living will obtain for us, we will reward you."
So they marched from the mount of the ever-living 3 days' journey, and the ark of the covenant of the ever-living marched before them 3 days' journey to guide them to a halting place. And the cloud of the ever-living was over them by day in their march from the camp. And when they began their march, Moses stood up and said,
"The ever-living deliver you from your enemies, and march before your face supporting you."
But when they encamped, Moses said,
"Jehovah bring home the many regiments of Israel."
Chapter 11. But bad people murmured in the ears of the ever-living, and the Lord heard it and was displeased. So the Lord caused a fire to break out amongst them, and it consumed the rear of the camp. So the people called upon Moses, and Moses prayed to the ever-living, and quenched the fire. He therefore called the name of that spot the Burnings, because the Lord there burnt them with fire. But the mixed people who were amongst them longed, and desired, and wept. Some of the children of Israel also did the same, and said,
"When shall we eat flesh? We remember the fish that we ate in Mitzrayim for nothing, with the cucumbers, and the melons, and the lettuces, and the onions, and the garlic. But now our souls are sick. There is nothing but this manna to look at."
Moses, however, heard the people weeping, each family at the door of their tent. And the Lord was very angry, and in the eyes of Moses it was bad. Therefore Moses said to the ever-living,
"Why have you brought evil upon your servant? And why have I not found favor in your eyes for you to remove the weight of all this people from off me? Have I begotten all these people? Or have I brought them forth, that you should say to me, Carry them in your lap, as a mother carries in her lap, because as a woman I have sworn to feed them? I have no flesh to give to all this nation, who cry to me, saying, Give us flesh that we may eat. I cannot feed them. I cannot carry all this nation. They are too heavy for me, and therefore do this to me. Kill me now. Kill me if I have found favor in your eyes, that I may not see myself torn to pieces."
But the ever-living answered Moses, "Add to yourself the 70 men from the rulers of Israel, whom you know to be able to rule the people and to control them, and take them with you to the hall of assembly, and present them there with yourself. And I will descend and speak with you there, and will support you with the Spirit that is upon you, and I will put it upon them, and they shall carry, along with yourself, the load of this nation, and you shall not carry it alone. But as for this people, order them to sanctify themselves for tomorrow, and they shall eat flesh, for the ever-living has heard their weeping, saying, Would that we could eat meat, such as we enjoyed among the Mitzrayim. Therefore the ever-living will give them flesh, and they can eat it. They shall not eat it for 1 day only, or for 2 days, or for 5 days, or for 10 days, or for 20 days, but for a month's time, until it is ejected from their mouth, and the greedy loathe it, because they have turned away from the ever-living, who is in the midst of them, and wept before me, saying, Why has he brought us from the Mitzrayim? But Moses replied, There are 600,000 of marching men in the nation I am surrounded by. And you say, Supply them with flesh meat, and let them eat it for a month. If the sheep and cattle are slaughtered for them, could they obtain it? If all the fish in this sea were added to them, could they obtain it? The ever-living, however, answered Moses, Is the hand of Jehovah cut off? Now you shall see whether my word is honored or not. Then Moses went out and related to the people all the words of the ever-living. And he selected 70 from the rulers of the people, and stationed them around the hall. And the ever-living descended in the cloud, and spoke with him, and strengthened him with the Spirit that was over him, and placed it upon each of the 70 rulers. And the Spirit rested upon them, and they addressed the audience, and did not fail. But 2 men separated themselves in the camp. The name of one was Aldad, and the name of the other was Medad. But the Spirit fell upon them, for they were enrolled, although they did not go to the assembly, and they addressed the people in the camp. Therefore a youth ran and reported it to Moses, and said, Eldad and Medad are addressing a meeting in the camp. So Joshua the son of Nun, the lieutenant of Moses, went to inquire, and then said, My lord Moses, restrain them. Moses, however, replied to him, You displease me, for I wish the ever-living would make all the people orators. I wish the ever-living would lay his spirit upon them. So Moses and the rulers of Israel remained in camp, and a wind came from the ever-living and brought up quails from the sea, and they were scattered over the camp for a day's journey on this side, as far as a day's journey on the other side, all round the camp, and were heaped on the surface of the ground. Then the people arose all that day and all that night, and all the next day, to collect the quails, and the smallest collection was 10 bags, and they spread them all about the camp. The flesh was still between their teeth, unconsumed, when the anger of the Lord burnt against the people, and the Lord struck them with a very great stroke. So they called the name of that spot, the Graves of Greed, for they buried there the people who were greedy. Then the people marched from the Graves of Greed to the green fields, and stayed at those fields. Chapter 12. Then Miriam and Aaron quarreled with Moses about the Cushite woman whom he had taken, for Moses had married a Cushite. So they asked,
Has the ever-living spoken only with Moses? Has he not also spoken to us?
And the ever-living heard it. But the man Moses was very gentle, more so than any man on the face of the earth. Then the ever-living spoke suddenly to Moses, and to Aaron, and to Miriam, Go all 3 of you to the hall of assembly. So all 3 went, and Jehovah descended in the form of the cloud, and stood at the door of the hall, and called Aaron and Miriam. Both of them accordingly went. When he said to them, Listen now to my words. If you are prophets of the ever-living, look at me. When I speak to you, it is a revelation in your dreams. It is not the same as with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. I speak face to face with him, and in visions, and he has not to seek the ever-living in enigmas and parables. Then why have you not regarded the message of my servant Moses? And the anger of the ever-living burnt at them, and he departed. Then the cloud turned from above the hall, and Miriam had become a leper as white as snow. And Aaron recoiled from Miriam, now she was a leper. And Aaron said to Moses,
Pray to the Almighty, so that he may not lay upon us the sin which we attempted, and that we have committed. Let her not be like what comes dead from its mother's womb, with half of its flesh consumed.
Therefore Moses cried to the ever-living, saying,
I pray God to cure her now.
And the ever-living replied, If her father had spit in her face, would she not be disgraced for 7 days? Let her be isolated for 7 days outside the camp, and afterwards she may return. Miriam was therefore isolated outside the camp for 7 days, and the people did not march until the return of Miriam, but the people marched afterwards from the green fields, and encamped in the wilderness of Paran. The end of chapters 7 through 12. Chapters 13 through 18 of the Book of Numbers, from the Holy Bible in Modern English, translated by FERRAR FENTON. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapter 13. Then the ever-living spoke to Moses, commanding, Send men, and let them survey the land of Canaan, which I will give to the children of Israel. You shall send a man from each tribe of their fathers, all of them nobles. Moses consequently sent them from the wilderness of Paran by command of the ever-living. All were nobles, chiefs of the children of Israel, and their names were these. Of the tribe of Reuben, Shamna the son of Yichrai. Of the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat the son of Korai. Of the tribe of Judah, Caleb the son of Jephunneh. Of the tribe of Issachar, Ezal the son of Joseph. Of the tribe of Ephraim, Hoshea the son of Nun. Of the tribe of Benjamin, Phalat the son of Raphnah. Of the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel the son of Sodai. Of the tribe of Joseph, the tribe of Manasseh, Gadai the son of Susai. Of the tribe of Dan, Amiel the son of Gamalai. Of the tribe of Asher, Sethor the son of Michal. Of the tribe of Naphtali, Nabai the son of Waphsai. Of the tribe of Gad, Ganal the son of Machri. These were the names of the nobles whom Moses sent to survey the land, and Moses surnamed Hoshea the son of Nun Joshua. Moses then sent them to survey the land of Canaan, and instructed them,
Go up from the south, and ascend to the hills, and examine the land, what it is, and what its people are who inhabit it, their strength, their weakness, if they are few or many, and what kind of country it is they live in, whether it is good or bad, and what kind of cities they inhabit, with their camps and fortresses. Also examine the fertility of the land, if it is watered, if there are trees in it or not, and their size. You must also collect some of the fruit of the country, for it is the time of grape harvest. They therefore went up to survey the country from the wilderness of Zin to the plain that extends to Chamath. Thus they ascended from the south as far as Hebron, where resided Achiman, Sheshai, and Talmai, 3 children of Anak. So they only went as far as the brook Eshcol, and decided to cut off a single branch of grapes from there, and carried it on a yoke between 2. They also took pomegranates and figs. Therefore they named that spot the Brook of Grapes, on account of the grapes which they cut from there for the sons of Israel. There they turned back from surveying the country at the end of 40 days, and marched and came to Moses and Aaron, and all the chiefs of the children of Israel, in the wilderness of Paran, at Kadesh, and reported the matter to them and all the council, and showed the fruit of the country, and continued, and said, We have been to the country to which you sent us, and it is indeed flowing with milk and honey, and this is its produce. However, the people who inhabit the country are strong, and their cities are very great fortresses, and we saw the sons of Anak there. Amalek inhabits the south country, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites, and the Amorites inhabit the hills, and the Canaanites inhabit along the sea, and alongside the Jordan. But Caleb had been silent before the people and Moses. Now he said, Ascending, let us go up and conquer them, for we are able to do it.
But the princes who went up with him replied, We are not able to overpower those people, for they are stronger than us. And they brought reports to the children of Israel about the country they had surveyed, saying,
The country that we traveled over to examine it, it is a country that devours its inhabitants, and all the people whom we saw were tall men, and we saw the Nephilim there, sons of Anak, more than giants, and we were in our own eyes like locusts, and we were like gnats in theirs.
Chapter 14. Then all the council arose and gave out their votes. The people also wept in that night, and all the children of Israel complained against Moses and against Aaron. And all the council asked,
Which was better for us, to die in the land of the Mitzrayim, or for us to die here in this desert? And why did the ever-living bring us to this country, to fall by the sword? Our wives and our children will be plunder. Is it not better for us to return to Mizar?
Then every man said to his brother, Let us choose a leader and return to the Mitzrayim. But Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the chiefs of the children of Israel. And Joshua the son of Nun, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who had surveyed the country, tore their garments, and addressed all the chiefs of the children of Israel, and said,
The country that we traveled over to survey it is a very, very good land. If the ever-living is pleased with us, and goes with us to this country, he can give us this land, which flows with milk and honey.
Rebel not against the ever-living, and fear not the people of the country, for we can devour them, throwing a shadow over them. Since the Lord is with us, fear them not.
All the council threatened, however, to murder them with stones. But the glory of the ever-living appeared in the hall of assembly to all the children of Israel. Then Jehovah said to Moses, How long shall I be despised by this people? How long will they not trust to me in spite of all the wonders I have effected for them? I could strike them with a word and destroy them, and could make from yourself a nation mightier than they. Moses, however, said to the ever-living,
But when the Mitzrites hear of it, from the midst of whom you brought up this people by your might, and the inhabitants of this country hear, who have heard that Jehovah is in the midst of this people, who eye to eye have seen you are the ever-living, and your cloud has stood over them, and with a perpetual cloud you have marched before them by day, and with a perpetual fire by night, that you have killed this people as a single man, then the heathen who have heard this report of you will say, Because Jehovah was not able to bring this people to the country that he swore to them, he has slain them in the desert. Consequently now, O ever-living, increase your mercy as you promised, saying, I am the ever-living, slow to anger and of great mercy, forbearing towards passion and sin, and not destroying the helpless, punishing the fault of the fathers upon their children to the third and the fourth generation. Forgive now the passion of this people, for your mercy is great, and as you have endured these people from Midser until now.
Then the ever-living replied, I will forgive as you request, for I live forever, and the majesty of the ever-living will fill the whole earth. However, all the men who have seen my majesty, and the wonders that I effected amongst the Mitzrayim and in the wilderness, yet have revolted from me these 10 times, and not listened to my voice, they shall not see the land which I promised to their fathers, that is, all who despised me shall not see it. But I accept my servant Caleb. His spirit was steadfast in him, and he was perfect after me. Therefore he shall arrive at the country where he went, and his posterity shall inherit it. However, as the Amalekites and the Canaanites occupied the valley, on the next day they turned face and retreated from them towards the wilderness leading to the sea of Suph. There Jehovah spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, For how long shall I hear the complaints of this vile mob complaining against me? These complaints of the children of Israel, that they murmur against me. Say to them, As I live, says Jehovah, according to their demand to my ears I will do to them. In this desert their corpses shall fall with all their officers and rulers from the age of 20 years and upwards, who complained against me. They shall not arrive at the country that I raised my hand to lead them into, except Caleb the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua the son of Nun. But their children which they said would be enslaved I will bring in, and they shall see the country which you despised. But your corpses shall fall in this desert, and your sons shall be scattered in the desert 40 years, for you shall carry your whoredom until your bodies sink in the desert. By the number of the days when you should have been examining the country, 40 days, a year for a day you shall carry your crimes, 40 years. Thus shall you recognize your rebellion. I, the ever-living, have declared I will do this to all this vile mob who revolted against me in this desert. They shall perish there. They shall die. And the men whom Moses sent to spy the country, and who returned and complained about it, the whole of that band shall become dung upon the earth. Those men shall die who reported bad of the land to fight against the ever-living. Yet Joshua the son of Nun, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, shall live from among those who went to survey the country. And Moses repeated these words to all the children of Israel, and the people mourned greatly. At the morning, however, they arose to go up to the top of the hill, crying, Here we are! Let us go up to the place which the ever-living said, for we have sinned. But Moses replied,
What is this? You transgress the command of Jehovah, and he is not pleased. You shall not go up, for the ever-living is not with you, so you will be defeated before your enemies. For the Amalekites and Canaanites are before you, and they will defeat you by the sword, because you have deserted from the ever-living, and Jehovah is not with you.
They, however, arrogantly ascended to the top of the hill. But the ark of the covenant of the ever-living and Moses did not move from the camp. So the Amalekites and the Canaanites who were encamped upon the hill charged down and repulsed them, and pursued them as far as the valley. Chapter 15. Afterwards the ever-living spoke to Moses, commanding, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you come to your permanent country which I will give to you, and you make a gift to the ever-living, a burnt offering, or a sacrifice to fulfill a vow, or a freewill offering, or in your festivals to make a pleasant breath to the ever-living, with an ox or a sheep, then approaching, present as your gift to the ever-living as a food offering, 1/10 of fine flour mixed with 1/4 of a hin of oil, and of wine for a drink offering you shall offer 1/4 of a hin with the burnt offering, or the sacrifice of a single lamb. Or with a ram you shall offer as a food offering 1/12 of fine flour mixed with 1/3 of a hin of oil, and 1/3 part of a hin of wine for a drink offering, presented as a pleasing breath to the Lord. And when you offer a bullock as a burnt offering, or a sacrifice to fulfill a vow, or as a thank offering to the ever-living, you shall offer with the bullock, as a food offering, 3/10 of fine flour mixed with half a hin of oil, and as a drink offering, present half a hin of wine as a gift of pleasant breath to Jehovah. And the same shall be done with each ox, each ram, each lamb of the sheep or goats. According to the number which are offered, this shall be done with each one of the number. Make every presentation in the same way as these, to offer a pleasing breath to the ever-living. And whatever stranger resides with you, or is settled among your posterity, when he makes an offering of a pleasing breath to the ever-living, he shall do the same as you do. It is a common institution alike for you and the foreigner who resides with you. It is a perpetual institution for your posterity, both for you and the foreigner before Jehovah. There shall be one law and one rule for yourselves and for the foreigners residing with you. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you arrive at the country where I will bring you, and eat of the bread of the land, you shall lift it up before the ever-living. You shall lift up the first cake from the dough, the same as you hold up of your grain, so shall you hold it up. You must give the first of your grindings to the ever-living as a lift offering from your produce. But if you wander from and do not practice all these commands which Jehovah has dictated to Moses, all that the ever-living has commanded to you by the medium of Moses from the day when the Lord commanded them to your furthest posterity, or if your parliament should inadvertently commit an error, then all your parliament shall offer a bull from the herd as a burnt offering for a pleasant breath to the ever-living, with its food offering and drink offering as decreed, and a ram of the goats for a sin offering, and the priest shall expiate for all the parliament of the children of Israel, and forgive them their fault, when they bring the offering to present to Jehovah, and make a sin offering for their fault. But if an individual commits a fault, then he shall present a she-goat of a year old as a sin offering, and the priest shall expiate for that person for the fault he has inadvertently committed before the ever-living. He shall expiate for it, and shall pardon him for it. There is one law for the native of the children of Israel, and for the foreigners among them, for you to observe regarding faultiness. But the person who acts with a wicked hand, whether a native or a foreigner, in contempt of the ever-living, that person shall be excommunicated from among his people, for he has despised the command of the Lord, and broken his decree by his sin. While the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man collecting sticks on the Sabbath day, and those who found him gathering sticks presented him to Moses and Aaron, and to all the parliament, who put him under guard, for they could not decide what to do with him. But the ever-living said to Moses, The man must die. Let all the assembly kill him with stones outside the camp. The whole assembly therefore took him outside the camp, and killed him with stones. So he died, as the ever-living had commanded to Moses. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, Make fringes upon the borders of your clothing always, and place above the fringes cords of purple, so that the fringes may be like flowers for you to remember the commands of the ever-living by, and to practice them, and that you may not wander after your hearts and after your eyes as you have wandered after them, but instead that you may remember and practice all my commands, and live holily to your God. I am your ever-living God, who brought you from the land of the Mitzrayim to be your God. I am the ever-living God. Chapter 16. Korah the son of Itzhar, the son of Kehath, the descendant of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab, and An the son of Pelath, the son of Reuben, conspired and stood up to resist Moses, with 150 others of the princes of the parliament of the children of Israel, titled nobles of the nation. And they addressed Moses and Aaron, and said to them, "You assume too much for yourselves, for all the parliament, all of them are sacred, and the ever-living is among them." When Moses heard it, he bowed his head and spoke to Korah and all his band, saying,
"In the morning Jehovah will make known who are his and sacred, and who are to approach to him, and whom he has chosen to approach to himself. Let Korah and all his band take bulls for themselves, and put fire and sweet incense into them, and the men whom Jehovah chooses shall be the sacred. You are presumptuous, sons of Levi."
And Moses continued to Korah,
"Listen now, sons of Levi. Was it too little for you that the God of Israel appointed you from among the families of Israel to approach to him, to perform the services of the sanctuary of the ever-living, and to stand before the congregation to minister, and included you and all your brothers with you? But would you demand the priesthood also? However, you and all your associates station yourselves before the ever-living together with Aaron. What is he that you should murmur against him?"
Then Moses sent to summons Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, but they would not come, but replied,
"We will not come. Is it nothing that you have brought us up out of a land flowing with milk and honey, to kill us in this desert, that you would dominate over us as a tyrant? You have brought us to no land flowing with milk and honey, nor given us farms and vineyards to possess. Would you dig out the eyes of these men? We will not come."
Moses was very angry at this, and said to Jehovah,
"I have not taken as a gift even an ass from them, and I have not wronged one of them."
Then Moses said to Korah,
"Let you and all your associates come before the ever-living, you and they and Aaron tomorrow, and let each take a censer and put on it incense and present it before the ever-living, each of the 150 a censer, and you and Aaron each a censer."
So each took his censer, and they put fire in their censers, and offered incense upon it, and stationed themselves at the door of the hall of assembly with Moses and Aaron. Korah also collected all his associates with himself at the door of the hall of assembly, and the glory of the ever-living appeared to all the congregation. But the ever-living spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, "You shall be magnified in the midst of this assembly, but I will consume them with might." They, however, fell upon their faces and said,
"God, the God giving life to all flesh, one man only has sinned, and will you be angry with all the parliament?"
Then the ever-living spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the parliament, and command them to run out from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram." Moses therefore arose, and went to Dathan and Abiram, and the judges of Israel went after him, and they spoke to the parliament, saying,
"Remove from the halls of these depraved men, and touch nothing belonging to them, for fear you should share in their sin."
Consequently they came away from the tents of Dathan and Abiram. But Dathan and Abiram came and stood at the opening of their tents, with their wives and children and infants. Then Moses spoke and said,
"You shall learn by this whether Jehovah has sent me to do all these things, for I have not done them by myself. If these die as all men die, and the fate of all men falls upon them, then the ever-living has not sent me. But if Jehovah prepares it, and the earth opens her mouth and swallows them, and all who are with them, and they go down alive to the grave, then you will know that the ever-living has rejected these men."
And it occurred that as he finished speaking these words, the ground split under them, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them and their homes, and all the men who were with Korah, and all their wealth. And they and all who were with them rushed down alive into the grave, and the earth closed over them, and they perished in the midst of the public. Then all Israel who were around them fled with a shriek, for they said,
"The earth may swallow us also!"
Fire also came out from Jehovah and consumed the 150 men as they offered incense. Chapter 17. The Ever-Living then spoke to Moses, saying, Command Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest to collect the censers from among the burnt people and the fire, for they are sacred. The censers of these sinners are for their lives, and you shall make of them thin spread plates for the altar, for they have been presented before the Ever-Living, and are sacred, and they shall be warnings to the children of Israel. Eleazar the priest subsequently took the censers of brass which the burnt persons presented, and made plates of them for the altar. And the children of Israel shall remember the reason why a strange man who is not of the family of Aaron may not approach to offer incense before the Ever-Living, so that he may not be like Korah, and that they may know that Jehovah has spoken by the medium of Moses. But all the parliament of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron next day, exclaiming, You have killed the people of the Ever-Living! But when the parliament collected against Moses and Aaron, they retreated to the hall of assembly, and then the cloud descended, and the glory of the Ever-Living appeared. So Moses and Aaron came into the front of the hall of assembly, and Jehovah spoke to Moses, saying, Rise up from the midst of this crowd, and I will consume them with might. But they fell on their faces, and Moses said to Aaron, Take you a censer, and put fire into it from off the altar, and blaze incense, and go quickly, and make an expiation for them, because anger is coming from the Ever-Living to strike the profane. So Aaron did as Moses commanded, and rushed into the midst of the meeting, where the stroke of destruction was on the people, and offered incense, and expiated for the nation, and stood between the living and the dead, and the stroke was arrested. But the dead from the stroke were 14,700, besides those who died over the affair of Korah. Then Aaron returned to Moses to the opening of the hall of assembly, and the stroke was arrested. The Ever-Living also spoke to Moses, commanding, Speak to the children of Israel, and take the staves from each of their tribes, the staff from each ancestral house, from each chief of an ancestral house, 12 staves, and record the name of each upon his staff, and record the name of Aaron upon the staff of the tribe of Levi. Thus there shall be a staff from the head of each ancestral house, and place them in the hall of assembly with the witnesses as an evidence for them there. And the staff of the man I may choose shall blossom. Thus I will exclude the complaints of the children of Israel from me. Moses accordingly spoke to the children of Israel, and each of the princes gave him their staff, each prince a staff, each prince of an ancestral house of the 12 tribes. But the staff of Aaron was placed in the middle of the other staves. Afterwards Moses presented the staves before the presence of the Ever-Living in the hall of assembly. And when Moses came next day to the tabernacle of the witnesses, the staff of Aaron had budded and blossomed for the house of Levi. Buds had also come out, and borne flowers, and ripened into almonds. Moses therefore brought out all the staves from the presence of the Ever-Living to all the children of Israel, and they examined them, each man taking his own staff. Then the Ever-Living said to Moses, Return the staff of Aaron to the presence of the witnesses, to keep it as an evidence to the sons of disobedience, and let them stop their complaints against me, that they may not die. Moses consequently did as the Ever-Living commanded him. He did it. The children of Israel after that spoke to Moses, saying, We perceive that we shall expire. We shall perish. All of us will perish. Let all who approach to the sanctuary of the Ever-Living be killed, so that we may not all expire. Chapter 18. Then the Ever-Living commanded Aaron, You and your sons, and the house of your father with you, shall carry the spirit of consecration. And you and your sons with you shall carry the spirit of the priesthood, and your brothers of the tribe of Levi, of the standard of your father, shall also approach with you, and attend upon you, and guard you, and your sons with you, before the tabernacle of the witnesses. And they shall guard you, and guard all the hall, together with the sacred furniture. But they shall not approach to the altar, for fear they, as well as you, should die. But they shall attend upon you, and guard in watches the hall of assembly, and all the services of the hall. And a foreigner shall not approach with them. By them also the holy things shall be guarded, and the altar be guarded, so that anger may never come upon the children of Israel. For I have taken to myself your brothers of Levi from among the children of Israel, to give them as gifts to the ever-living, to perform the services of the hall of assembly. But you and your sons with you shall guard the priesthood, and all the matters of the altar, and of the house of the veils, and perform the services prescribed for the priesthood. And the stranger who approaches shall die. The ever-living also said to Aaron, And I, see, I have given to you the guardianship of my high things, and of all the sacred things of the children of Israel. I have given them to you and to your sons to consecrate and to preserve forever. These shall be yours from the sacred offerings, all the gifts offered by fire, all food offerings and sin offerings, and all the presents which they make to me. They are consecrated strictly to you and to your sons. You shall eat them in the sanctuary. Every male may eat of them with you. They shall be sacred to you. You shall also take something from all the wave offerings of the children of Israel for yourself and your sons and for your daughters with you, as a perpetual institution. All the clean in your house may eat of them. All the melted fat, and the best of the vintage, and the first of the corn which they present to the ever-living are given to you. The first fruits of all that their land produces which they bring to the ever-living shall be yours. All who are clean in your houses may eat of them. Every convict in Israel shall be yours. Everything bursting the womb of any species, which they offer to the ever-living, whether of man or beast, shall be yours. But you must set free for a ransom the firstborn of man, and the firstborn of cattle you shall free for a sin offering. And they shall be ransomed at a month old, at a valuation of 5 shekels of silver by the sacred shekel. You shall not, however, ransom the firstborn of a cow, or the firstborn of a sheep, or the firstborn of a goat. They are sacred. Their blood is to be poured out on the altar, and their fat is to be burnt as an offering of pleasant perfume to the ever-living. But of their flesh the breast shall be yours for waving it, and the right leg shall be yours. All the exalted offerings of the sanctuaries which the children of Israel lift up to the ever-living, I give to you and to your sons with you as a perpetual institution. It is a covenant of salt forever before the ever-living for you and your posterity after you. The ever-living also said to Aaron, You shall have no possession in the land, and there shall be no portion for you in it. I am your portion and inheritance among the children of Israel. But to the sons of Levi I give all the tithe of Israel for an inheritance, in payment for the work they perform in the services of the hall of assembly. And if ever the children of Israel offer a sacrifice in the hall of assembly, they shall bear the sin to death, because the work of Levi is in the hall of assembly, and they shall bear its burden as a perpetual institution for your posterity. Therefore they have no inheritance among the children of Israel, for the tithes of the children of Israel which they bring to lift up and present to the ever-living, I give to the Levites as an inheritance. Therefore I have said to them, You shall hold no inheritance among the children of Israel. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, Speak to the Levites, and say to them, Since I have taken you from the children of Israel, the tithe which I have given to you from them as your inheritance, you shall present from it as a present to the ever-living, 1/10 of the tithe with which they are tithed, for your account. You shall also lift up some of the grain from the corn, and a portion from the grapes. Thus you shall present presentations to the ever-living from all the tithes which are taken from the children of Israel, and give a part of those presentations to the ever-living, to Aaron the priest. From all the presentations presented to the ever-living, present a part of all the best that is consecrated for you. You shall therefore command them, when presenting the fat, to account some of it as for the Levites, like the offerings of corn and the offerings of grapes, and they may eat them in any of their villages and houses as their wages on account of their work in the hall of assembly, and they will not be committing sin by taking away the fat and the offerings of the children of Israel. They do no wrong, and they shall not die. The end of chapters 13 through 18. Chapters 19 through 24 of the Book of Numbers, from the Holy Bible in Modern English, translated by FERRAR FENTON. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapter 19. The Ever-Living also spoke to Moses, commanding, "The following is a constitutional law which Jehovah commands, saying, Command the children of Israel to select for you a red heifer, perfect, and who has not a spot upon her, which has never been under a yoke. Let them bring it to Eleazar the priest, and he shall take her outside the camp and slay her in their presence. Then Eleazar the priest shall take some of her blood on his finger, and sprinkle the front of the hall of assembly 7 times with the blood, and burn the heifer in their sight with its skin, and flesh, and its dung. He shall burn it to dissolution. Then the priest shall take cedar and hyssop wood, and scarlet wool, and ashes from among the cinders of the heifer. The priest shall then change his clothing, and wash his body with water, and afterwards return into the camp. But the priest shall be unclean until the evening. Those who burnt her also shall change their clothes, and wash their bodies in water, and be unclean until the evening. Afterwards a clean man shall remove the ashes of the heifer, and place them outside the camp in a clean place, and they shall be as a witness to the children of Israel, to keep themselves from the impurity of sin. Then the remover of the ashes of the heifer shall strip off his clothes, and be unclean until the evening. This also shall be a perpetual institution to the children of Israel, and to the foreigners who reside among them, that whoever touches the corpse of a man shall be unclean for 7 days. If he offers a sin offering on the 3rd day, then he shall be clean on the 7th day. But if he does not offer a sin offering on the 3rd day, he shall not be clean on the 7th. Whoever touches a corpse, the body of a man who died, and does not make a sin offering at the sanctuary of the Ever-Living, is defiled, and that person shall be excommunicated from Israel, because he has not washed the filth from off himself with water. He shall be unclean while the impurity is on him. These are the laws about persons who have died in a dwelling. All who come to the dwelling, and all who are in the dwelling, are unclean for 7 days. Every vessel also which is open, unless there is a lid upon the opening, is defiled. And whoever touches a man killed in fight, or the bones of a man, or killed accidentally, shall be defiled for 7 days. You shall consequently take to the defiled person some of the ashes of the fires of sin offerings, and put them on living water in a cup, and take hyssop, and dabble with the water the man who is to be purified, and sprinkle it upon the dwelling, and over all the furniture, and over all the persons who may be there, and over the man who has touched the bones, or the slain, or the dead by accident, and sprinkle the purification upon the defiled at the 3rd day, and upon the 7th day, and make a sin offering for him upon the 7th day, and he shall change his clothes and bathe in water, when he shall be purified at evening. But the man who is defiled, and does not offer a sin offering, that person shall be excluded from the entry into the holy assembly of the Ever-Living. The defiled, not having washed his filth from off him, is unclean. Therefore this shall be a perpetual institution to you. And for this reason the filthy shall change their clothes, and who touches anything filthy shall be unclean until the evening. And all that touches him who is unclean shall be unclean, and the person he touches shall be unclean until the evening. Chapter 20. All the congregation of the children of Israel afterwards marched to the wilderness of Zin in the 1st month, and settled in Kadesh. Now Miriam died there, and they buried her there. However, water was deficient for the nation, so they appealed to Moses and Aaron, and the people disputed with Moses, and complaining, they said,
Oh, that expiring we could die before the Lord! And why has the Lord brought the congregation to this wilderness, we and our cattle? And why did he bring us up from Mitzar to conduct us to this vile place? It is not a place of vegetables and figs and cucumbers and pomegranates, and there is no water to drink.
Moses and Aaron therefore went before the crowd at the opening of the hall of assembly, and fell on their faces. And the majesty of the Ever-Living appeared over them. Then the Ever-Living spoke to Moses, commanding,
Take your staff and convoke the parliament, you and your brother Aaron, and command the rock in their sight, and it will give them water, and bring out water for them from the rock, and quench the thirst of the people and their cattle." Moses therefore took his staff from the presence of the ever-living, as he was commanded. And Moses and Aaron addressed the crowd before the rock, and said to them,
"Listen now, you rebels! Out of this very rock water shall come for you!"
Then Moses raised his hand and struck the rock with his staff twice, and a rush of water came out, and quenched the thirst of the people and of their cattle. But the ever-living said to Moses and Aaron, "Because you have not been true to me, to consecrate me in the sight of the children of Israel, you shall not bring this people into the land which I will give them." These were the waters of strife, where the children of Israel strove with the ever-living, but he was sanctified at them. Moses afterward sent messengers from Kadesh to the commander of Edom to say, "Thus says your brother Israel, you know all the labors that we have met, how our fathers went down to the Mitzrayim and resided in Mitzar many days, and how the Mitzrites ill-treated our fathers. But we appealed to the ever-living, and he heard our voice, and sent a messenger, and brought us from among the Mitzrites, and now we are at Kadesh, a village at the edge of your borders. Let us now pass through your country. We will not pass through farms and vineyards. We will not drink of water from the wells, but travel upon the traveling highway. We will not delay in our march, nor extend to the right or the left when we cross your boundaries." But Edom replied to them,
"You shall not pass through me, or I will advance with a sword and fight you."
Then Israel answered, "I will go up by the mountain road, and if I drink water, I will buy it, and I will give a price for biscuits. Nothing shall stick to my feet as I pass over." But he replied, "You shall not pass through." And Edom came out to fight with the people grievously and with a strong hand. Thus Edom refused to give Israel a passage through his boundaries, so Israel turned away from them. Then the children of Israel marched, all the nation, to the peak of the highlands, where the ever-living said to Moses and Aaron in the highlands, on the borders of the land of Edom, "Aaron shall be added to his people, because he shall not arrive at the land which I will give to the children of Israel, because you did not exalt my presence at the waters of strife. Take Aaron and his son Eleazar, and ascend with them the peak of the highlands, where Aaron shall take off his robes, and you shall put them upon Eleazar his son, and afterwards Aaron shall die there." Moses consequently did as the ever-living commanded, and ascended the peak of the highlands in the sight of all the people. Then Moses stripped Aaron of his robes, and clothed Eleazar his son with them. And Aaron died there on the top of the peak. Then Moses and Eleazar came down from the peak. And all the people saw the death of Aaron, all the house of Israel, so they wept for Aaron 30 days. Chapter 21. When the Canaanites of the kingdom of Arad, who occupied the south, heard that Israel was coming by the road of the Atharim, they fought with Israel, and took some of them prisoners. Then Israel waved a vow to the ever-living, and said, "If you will give this people to my hand, then I will destroy their towns." And the ever-living listened to the voice of Israel, and gave them the Canaanites. So they destroyed them in their towns, and named the district Destruction. Then they marched from the peak of the highlands towards the Sea of Weeds, and skirted the land of Edom. But the retreat depressed the spirit of the people, so the people spoke against God and against Moses. "Why have you brought us up from the Mitzrayim to die in a desert, where there is neither bread nor water, and our spirits depressed by this vile food?" The Lord therefore sent to the people inflammatory serpents, who stung the people, and a great number of the people of Israel died. Then the people came to Moses and said, "We have sinned, because we have spoken against the ever-living and against you. Pray to Jehovah that he may send the serpents away from us." So Moses prayed on account of the people. Then the ever-living said to Moses, "Make for yourself a fiery serpent, and put it up as a standard. And it shall be that when anyone is stung, he can look upon it and live."
Then Moses made a serpent of brass, and set it up as a standard, and when anyone was stung by a serpent, and looked upon that serpent of brass, he lived. The children of Israel afterwards marched, and encamped at Aboth. Then they marched to Ai on the fords, in the desert which is facing Moab, away from the rising sun. From there they marched, and encamped at the brook of Arad. From there they marched and encamped at the ford of Arnon, which is in the desert that extends as a boundary for the Amorites, for the Arnon was the boundary between Moab and the Amorites. As it is said in the book of the wars of the Lord, "At Suph he was parched, and the gorges of Arnon, the cliffs that lean down from the dwellings of Ar, and slope to the boundary of Moab, and from there to the well." This is the well where the ever-living said to Moses, "Let the people rest, and provide them water." Then Israel sang this song:
Spring up well to refresh us, dug by rejoicing princes, by the people's chiefs and ruler, a refreshing gift in the desert, and a gift from the rivers of God, from the rivers of God in the hills. From the heights it passed to the valley, to Moab's plain from the peak of Pisgah, and clothed the face of the waste.
Then Israel sent ambassadors to Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, "I wish to pass through your country. I will not extend into the farms and vineyards. I will not drink water from the wells, and I will march on the travelers' highway only until I have passed over your boundaries." But Sihon would not allow Israel to pass over his borders. So Sihon collected all his forces and advanced to attack Israel in the desert. When he arrived at Yatz, he fought with Israel, but Israel defeated him by the sword, and seized the country from the Arnon as far as the Jabbok from the sons of Ammon, for that is the boundary of the Amorites. The Israelites also captured all the cities. Israel occupied all the villages of the Amorites, with Heshbon and all its villages, for Heshbon was the capital of Sihon the king of the Amorites, for formerly he had a war with the king of Moab, and took the whole of his country from his possession as far as the Arnon. Therefore the poets say, "Bring straw to Heshbon, and build a city for Sihon. For a fire coming from Heshbon, a flame from the palace of Sihon, has burnt up Ar of Moab, going up to the cliffs of Arnon. Alas for you, Moab, the people of Chemosh! Your sons are given to flight, and your girls as slaves to Sihon the Amorite king, and the archers destroy from Heshbon to Dibon, and waste from Noph as far as to Midbah." Thus Israel occupied the country of the Amorites. Moses then sent infantry to Iazar, who captured it and its villages, and they drove out the Amorites who were there. Then they turned and ascended by the road from Heshbon, when Og, king of Bashan, advanced to attack them, he and all his forces, in the battle of Adrai. But the ever-living said to Moses, "Fear him not, for I will give him into your hand, him and all his people and his country, and you shall do to him as you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who resided in Heshbon." They consequently defeated him and his sons and all his forces, until there was not a detachment left to him, and they seized his country. Chapter 22. Then the children of Israel marched and encamped again at the fords of Moab, at the ford of the torrent opposite Jericho. When Balak the son of Ziphor saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites, Moab was greatly terrified at the presence of the people, for they were many, and Moab was startled at the sight of the children of Israel. Therefore Moab said to the judges of Midian, "Now this crowd is licking up all round about us, like a bullock licks up the grass of the field." So Balak the son of Ziphor, the king of Moab, was terrified. Consequently he sent ambassadors to Balaam the son of Beor, of Pethor, which is by the river of the land of the sons of Ammo, to invite him, saying, "A nation has come out from the Mitzrayim, and covers the face of the country, and it occupies my borders. So now I pray you to come and curse this people for me, for it is stronger than mine, so that I may be able to defeat and drive it from the country. For I know that whoever you bless is lucky, and whoever you curse is unfortunate." The princes of Moab consequently went with the princes of Midian, with presents in their hands, and came to Balaam, and gave him the message of Balak. And he replied, "Stay here tonight, and I will return to you the answer that the ever-living dictates to me." So the princes of Moab stayed with Balaam. But a divine messenger came to Balaam and asked,
Who are these men with you?
And Balaam replied, Balak the son of Ziphor, king of Moab, has sent to me. There is a people that has come from Midser, and it covers the face of the country. Now come, curse it for me, so that I may be able to fight with and drive it away. Then the messenger replied to Balaam, You must not go with them, nor curse this people, for it is blessed. Balaam therefore arose in the morning, and said to the princes of Balak, Return to your own country, for the ever-living refuses to allow me to go with you. So the princes of Moab arose and went to Balak, and said, Balaam refused to come with us. However, Balak proceeded to send again more princes, and of higher rank than the former. And they came to Balaam and said to him,
Balak the son of Ziphor says thus, Do not refuse, I pray you, to come to me, for I will honor you very greatly, and whatever you demand of me I will do. Only come, I entreat you, to curse this people for me.
But Balaam replied and said, If Balak would give to me his palace full of silver and gold, I should not be able to pass beyond the command of the ever-living God to do little or much. But yet rest yourselves, I beg, here tonight, and I will learn what the ever-living may say again to me. A divine messenger then came to Balaam at night, and said to him,
If these men invite you, arise, go with them, but you shall execute the command that I shall command you.
Therefore Balaam arose at daybreak, and saddled his ass, and went with the princes of Moab. But God was angry because he went, and placed a messenger of the ever-living in the path to oppose him as he rode on his ass, and the 2 youths with him. And the ass saw the messenger of Jehovah stationed in the path with a drawn sword in his hand. So the ass turned out of the path and went on to the field. But Balaam struck the ass to turn her into the path. Then the messenger of Jehovah placed himself in the hollow path of a vineyard, with a wall on both sides. But the ass saw the messenger of Jehovah, and she pressed against the wall, and squeezed the leg of Balaam against the wall, and refused to go forward. Then the messenger of Jehovah passed on, and stationed himself in a narrow place where there was no room to turn to the right or to the left. But the ass saw the messenger of Jehovah, and crouched down under Balaam. And Balaam was furious, and struck the ass with his stick. Then the ever-living opened the mouth of the ass, and she said to Balaam, What have I done to you, that you have struck me these 3 times? But Balaam answered the ass, Because you have vexed me. I wish there were a sword handy to me, that I might kill you on the spot. The ass, however, replied to Balaam, Am I not your own ass, upon whom you have ridden from the day I was yours? Have I been accustomed to do this to you? And he answered, No. Then Jehovah opened the eyes of Balaam, and he also saw the messenger of the ever-living standing in the path with a drawn sword in his hand. And he bowed and made reverence before him. But the messenger of the ever-living said to him, Why have you struck your ass these 3 times? I was sent to oppose you, for your conduct is perverse before me. And the ass saw me, and turned from my face these 3 times. If she had not turned away from me, I should most certainly have struck and slain you, but yet preserved her alive. Then Balaam said to the messenger of Jehovah, I have sinned, but I did not know that you stood to meet me in the path. Yet now, if I am wrong in your sight, I will return home. The messenger of the ever-living, however, replied to Balaam, Go with these men, but except the words that I shall command you, utter nothing. So Balaam went with the princes of Balak. When Balak heard that Balaam was coming, he went out to meet him to Ar of Moab, which is on the banks of the Arnon, where his border ends. And Balak said to Balaam, Did I not send to you to invite you? Why did you not come to me? Am I not quite able to honor you? But Balaam answered Balak, Although I have come to you, I am not now able to speak a word except what the ever-living puts into my mouth. That I must utter. Then Balaam walked with Balak, and they went into the palace gardens, where Balak sacrificed an ox and a sheep, and sent them to Balaam, and to the princes who were with him. But in the morning Balak took Balaam, and ascended the tower of Baal, and showed from there the whole mass of the people. Chapter 23. Then Balaam said to Balak, Build for me here 7 altars, and prepare for me here 7 bullocks and 7 rams. Balak accordingly did as Balaam said, and Balak and Balaam offered up a bullock and a ram on each altar. Then Balaam said to Balak, Stand here by your offerings, and I will go yonder to meet the ever-living to inquire, and whatever he may show me I will report to you. So he went to a cliff, where Balaam met God, and said to him, I have built 7 altars, and offered a bullock and a ram on each altar. The ever-living then put a speech into the mouth of Balaam, and said, Return to Balak, and say thus. So he returned to Balak, who stood by his offerings, he and all the princes of Moab, and he there began his poem, and said, From Aram, Balak, Moab's king brought me. From the hills of the east I have come. Curse for me Jacob, insult for me Israel. How can I curse whom God has not cursed? How can I insult whom Jehovah insults not? Whom I see from the top of the rocks, and from the hills I survey him. A people dwelling alone, and not mixed up with the nations. Who can number the dust of Jacob? Who can count Israel's increase? Let my life die the death of the righteous. Let my last days be like to his. Then Balak exclaimed to Balaam,
What have you done for me? I instructed you to curse my enemies, and yet you have blessed them.
But he answered and said, Was it not what the ever-living put into my mouth? I was obliged to speak it. Balak, however, answered him, Come, then, with me to another place, where you can look and only see a part of the encampment, and not survey the whole, and curse them from there. So he took him to the field of towers at the top of Pisgah, and built 7 altars, and offered a bullock and a ram on each altar. Then he said to Balak, Stand here by the offerings, and I will go yonder. And the ever-living met Balaam, and put a speech in his mouth, and said, Return to Balak, and say thus. So he went to him, and found him standing by his offerings, and the princes of Moab with him. And Balak asked him, What does the ever-living command? Then he began his poem, and said, Stand up, Balak, and hear. Listen intently, son of Ziphor. God is not a man to lie, or a son of man to change his purpose. He has said, and will he not do? And spoken, will he not perform? Blessing, he ordered me to bless, and I cannot reverse it. He perceived no fault in Jacob, and saw not in Israel wrong. The living God is with him, and a kingly cheer is his. God brought him up from Mizar. He is like to a mighty bull. There is no chain for Jacob, for Israel no subjector. In time they will say of Jacob and Israel, What wonders God has done! See the people, how it advances! Like a lion it rears and stands. It lies not down till the prey is devoured, and its thirst is quenched in blood. Balak then exclaimed to Balaam, Alas, cursing you have not cursed, but blessing you have blessed. But Balaam responded and said to Balak, Did I not tell you this, saying, All that the ever-living commands to me I must do? And Balak answered to Balaam, Come now, I will take you to another place. Perhaps it may be right in the eyes of the gods, and they may curse for me from there. So Balak took Balaam to the top of the gorge of Peor, to the cliff opposite the desert. There Balaam said to Balak, Build for me here 7 altars, and prepare for me 7 bullocks and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam told him, and offered a bullock and a ram on each altar. Chapter 24. But Balaam saw that it was good in the eyes of the ever-living to bless Israel. Therefore he went not, as at the other times, to call upon snakes, but turned his face towards the wilderness, and seeing Israel encamped by tribes, and seeing the Spirit of the ever-living above them, he began his poem, and said, Balaam the son of Beor says, and the man with opened eyes declares, who heard the speaking God dictate, who saw the almighty life, entranced but yet with opened eyes. How lovely, Jacob, are your halls! What tents are yours, O Israel! They wave like rivers, like watered gardens, like groves the Lord has planted, like cedars beside the brooks. Dewdrops hang from his leaves, and his seed has plenty of water. His king shall be greater than Agag, and his dominions exalted. God brought him from Mizar. What a mighty bull he is! He devours opposing nations, grinds their bones, and crushes the splinters. He shall couch his paws like a lion, like a tiger, who dare arouse him? Who blesses you, myself will bless, and I will curse your curser. Balak then became furious with Balaam, and struck his hands together, and Balak exclaimed at Balaam,
I invited you to curse my enemy, and yet you have blessed him these 3 times. So now be off by yourself to your own country. I said I would ennoble you, but however, the Lord keeps you from honors.
Balaam, however, replied to Balak, Did I not also inform the ambassadors whom you sent to me, that if Balak should give me his palace full of silver and gold, I should not be able to pass beyond the command of the ever-living, to do good or bad? Whatever the ever-living commands me, I must speak. And as I am going to my country, I will inform you what this people will do to your people hereafter. Then he began his poem and said, Balaam the son of Beor says, and the man with opened eyes declares, who heard the speaking God, proclaims, who knows the intention of the highest, who saw the Almighty in a trance, who fell when his eyes were opened. I shall see him, but not now. I behold him, but not near. He brings a star from Jacob, and from Israel wields a staff that breaks the sides of Moab, and destroys his warlike sons. And he will seize upon Edom, and possess his enemy Seir. For Israel forms his host, and Jacob's son comes down, and cuts off escape from the fort. Then he turned towards Amalek, and continued his poem, and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his posterity shall be destroyed. Next he looked towards the Kenai, and continued his poem, and said, You place and fix your house in the rock, yet the flame shall rage on the wall of your home. And concluding his poem, he exclaimed, Alas, who can stand against God? For he strikes with a crushing hand. Then woe to Asher, and woe to Heber, for they also at last shall fail. Then Balaam arose, and went and returned to his own country, and Balak also went away. The end of chapters 19 through 24. Chapters 25 through 30 of the Book of Numbers, from the Holy Bible in Modern English, translated by FERRAR FENTON. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapter 25. But Israel remained at the acacia woods, and the people polluted themselves by fornication with the women of Moab, who invited the people to the sacrifices of their gods. So the people ate and worshipped their gods, and Israel joined itself to Baal Peor. Therefore the ever-living was angry with Israel, and the Lord said to Moses, Seize the whole of the chiefs of the people, and hang them before the ever-living in open sunlight, so that the burning anger of the Lord may be turned from Israel. Consequently Moses said to the rulers of Israel,
Each of you slay the men who have joined themselves to Baal Peor.
But a prince of the children of Israel went and brought to his brothers a Midianitess in the sight of Moses and in the sight of all the parliament of the children of Israel, while they were weeping at the door of the hall of assembly. When Phinehas the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, saw it, he arose from among the parliament, and took a javelin in his hand, and went after the Israelite to his tent, and stabbed both the man of Israel and the woman through their bodies, and arrested the plague upon the children of Israel. But those who died from the plague were 24,000. Then the ever-living spoke to Moses, commanding, Phinehas the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, has turned death away from the children of Israel, by the zeal with which he was zealous for me among them. Therefore I command to give to him the bond of peace, and he and his heirs after him shall have an enduring priesthood, because he was zealous for his God. Therefore he shall expiate for the children of Israel. But the name of the Israelite who was killed when the Midianitess was killed was Zimri the son of Salwa, an ancestral prince of the house of Simeon. And the name of the Midianitess was Cosbi, the daughter of Zur, chief of a tribe of an ancestral house of Midian. The ever-living spoke to Moses, commanding, Assail the Midianites, and cut them off from you, for they troubled you by their plots which they contrived against you in the affair of Cosbi, the daughter of a prince of Midian, their sister, who was slain at the time of the plague, about the Peor matter, when the plague was ended. Chapter 26. The ever-living afterwards also commanded to Moses and to Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest, saying, Take a census of all the families of the children of Israel, from the age of 20 years and upwards, by the houses of their ancestors, all in Israel capable of army service. Consequently Moses commanded Eleazar the priest, while they were at the fords of Moab, by the torrent near Jericho, saying, From the age of 20 years and upwards, as the ever-living commanded to Moses, when the children of Israel were brought up from the land of Mitzar. Reuben was firstborn son of Israel. Of Reuben, Canaan. From him were the families of the Canaanites. From Philua, the families of the Philuaites. From Hezron, the families of the Hezronites. From Carmi, the families of the Carmites. These were the families of the Reubenites, and there were enrolled 43,730. And the son of Philua was Eliab. And the sons of Eliab, Nemuel, and Dathan, and Abiram. From him came Dathan and Abiram, who excited the parliament that revolted against Moses and Aaron, in the revolt of Korah, when they rebelled against the ever-living. But the earth opened her mouth, and swallowed them and Korah into death, with all those persons, to the number of 150 men who had joined them. But the son of Korah did not die. The sons of Simeon by their families were, from Namuel, the families of the Namuelites, from Jamin, the families of the Jaminites, from Jachin, the families of the Jachinites, from Zarach, the families of the Zarachites, from Shaul, the families of the Shaulites. These were the families of the Simeonites, 22,200. The sons of Gad by their families were, from Ziphon, the families of the Ziphonites, from Kaggai, the families of the Kaggites, from Shunai, the families of the Shunites, from Asnai, the families of the Asnites, from Arai, the families of the Arites, from Arod, the families of the Arodites, from Aralai, the families of the Aralites. These were the families of the sons of Gad. There were enrolled of them 40,500. The sons of Judah, Ar and Onan. But Ar and Onan died in the land of Canaan. These, however, were the sons of Judah by their families. From Shelah, the families of the Shelahites. From Pharetz, the families of the Pharetzites. From Zerach, the families of the Zerachites. And there were of the sons of Pharetz, from Katzran, the families of the Katzranites. From Kamal, the families of the Kamalites. These were the families of Judah who were enrolled, 76,500. The sons of Issachar by their families were, from Tola, the families of the Tolites. From Phua, the families of the Phuites. From Yashub, the families of the Yashubites. From Shimron, the families of the Shimronites. These were the families of Issachar, with an enrollment of 64,300. The sons of Zebulun by their families were, from Sored, the families of the Soredites. From Alan, the families of the Alanites. From Yachlal, the families of the Yachlalites. These were the families of the Zebulunites, with an enrollment of 60,500. The sons of Joseph by the families of Manasseh and Ephraim were, the sons of Manasseh, from Machir, the families of the Machirites. But Machir begot Gilad. From Gilad were the families of the Giladites. These were the sons of Gilad. From Iazar, the families of the Aazarites. From Kelag, the families of the Kelagites. From Asriel, the families of the Asrielites. From Shechem, the families of the Shechemites. From Shemida, the families of the Shemidaites. From Kepher, the families of the Kepherites. From Zelophehad, the son of Kipher, there were no sons, but only daughters. And the names of the daughters of Zelophehad were Machlah, and Noah, Kaglah, Milkar, and Thirza. These were the families of Manasseh enrolled, 52,700. These were the sons of Ephraim by their families. From Shuthlach were the families of the Shuthlachites. From Becher, the families of the Becherites. From Thachan, the families of the Thachanites. And these were the sons of Shuthlach. From Aran, the families of the Aranites. These were the families of the sons of Ephraim, by enrollment, 32,500. These were the sons of Joseph, by their families. The sons of Benjamin by their families were, from Boa, the families of the Bolites, from Ashbel, the families of the Ashbelites, from Achirm, the families of the Achirmites, from Shiphapham, the families of the Shiphaphamites, from Kopham, the families of the Kophamites. And there were sons of Boa, Arad and Naaman. From Arad, the families of the Aradites, from Naaman, the families of the Naamanites. These were the sons of Benjamin by their families, by enrollment, 45,600. These were the sons of Dan by their families. From Shukam, the families of the Shukamites. These were the families of Dan by their families. All the families of the Shukamites, by enrollment, were 64,400. The sons of Asher by their families were, from Imnah, the families of the Imnites. From Ishua, the families of the Ishuites. From Beriah, the families of the Beriahites. From the sons of Beriah, from Keber, the families of the Keberites. From Malchiel, the families of the Malchielites. And the name of the daughter of Asher was Sarach. These were the families of the sons of Asher by enrollment, 50,400. The sons of Naphtali by their families were, from Yachzal, the families of the Yachzalites. From Guni, the families of the Gunites. From Itzrai, the families of the Itzrites. From Shelam, the families of the Shelamites. These were the families of Naphtali, by their families, by enrollment, 45,400. These were enrolled of the sons of Israel, 601,730. The ever-living afterwards spoke to Moses, and said, You shall divide the country into estates for them according to the number of the names. To the more numerous you shall increase the portions, and to the lesser lessen the portions. Each according to the enrollment shall be given their possessions. You shall distribute the portions of land by lots. They shall inherit by the names of the tribes of their fathers. These also were the chiefs of Levi by their families. From Gershon, the families of the Gershonites. From Kehath, the families of the Kehathites. From Merari, the families of the Merarites. These are the families of the Levites. The family of Libni, the family of Kabani, the family of Machlai, the family of Mushai, the family of Karakai. And Kehath begot Amram, and the name of Amram's wife was Jochebed, a descendant of Levi, who was born to Levi in Mitzar. And she bore to Amram Aaron, and Moses, and Miriam their sister. And there were born to Aaron Nadab and Abihu, and Eleazar and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died in presenting strange fire in the presence of the ever-living. Their enrollment was 23,000, all males from a month old and upwards. But they were not numbered among the children of Israel, for no portion was given to them among the children of Israel. This was the census taken by Moses and Eleazar the priest, when they enumerated the sons of Israel at the fords of Moab near the torrent by Jericho. But among these there was not one who had been enrolled by Moses and Aaron the priest when they enumerated the children of Israel in the desert of Sinai, for the ever-living had said, They should die in the desert, and there should not remain a man of them except Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. Chapter 27. On one occasion the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Kapher, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, and the names of these girls were Machlah, Noah, and Kaglah, and Micah, and Thirza, approached and placed themselves before Moses and Eleazar the priest, and the princes, and all the parliament at the opening of the hall of assembly, saying, Our father died in the desert, for he was among the confederacy who revolted against the ever-living with the associates of Korah, and he died for his sin, and he had no sons. Why should the name of our father be taken from among his family because he had not a son? Give us an inheritance among the brothers of our father. Moses therefore presented it for decision before the ever-living, and Jehovah commanded Moses, saying, What the daughters of Zelophehad have asked of you, grant. Give them a share to inherit amongst the brothers of their father, and assign the inheritance of their father to them. You shall also command the children of Israel that, when a man dies and has not a son, you shall assign his estate to his daughters. But if he has no daughter, you shall assign his estate to his brother. But if he has no brother, then you shall give his estate to his father, or to his next of kin of his own family, and he shall possess it. And this shall be an institution of justice, which the ever-living commands to Moses. Then the ever-living said to Moses, Ascend this hill by the fords, and survey the country which I have given to the children of Israel. When you have seen it, you shall be added to your fathers yourself, as Aaron your brother was added, because you rebelled openly in the wilderness of Zin, when the parliament rebelled, in not sanctifying me at the waters, in their sight, at the waters of strife in the wilderness of Zin. And Moses replied to the ever-living, and said, Appoint a man, living God of the breath of all flesh, over the assembly, who may go out before them and come in before them, and who can lead them out and bring them back, so that the assembly of the ever-living may not be like sheep without a shepherd. The ever-living replied to Moses, Take to yourself Joshua the son of Nun, a man who has spirit in him, and strike your hand upon him, and place him before Eleazar the priest and before all the parliament, and appoint him in their sight. And put your majesty upon him, so that all the representatives of the children of Israel may listen to him. Thus let him stand in the presence of Eleazar the priest, who shall inquire for him by the decision of the Urim in the presence of Jehovah. At his command they shall come in, and at his command they shall go out, and all the children of Israel with him, and all their parliament. Moses therefore did as the ever-living ordered him, and took Joshua, and stationed him before Eleazar the priest, and before the parliament, and struck his hand upon him, and he was appointed as the Lord commanded to Moses. Chapter 28. Then the ever-living spoke to Moses, and said, Command the children of Israel, and say to them, You shall take care to present to me the shewbread, as an acceptable offering, at the proper times. Also give them this order about the offering which they are to make to the ever-living of the 2 perfect lambs of a year old daily, as a perpetual burnt offering. They shall offer 1 lamb at daybreak, and offer the second in the afternoon, with the 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour, mixed with 1/4 of a hin of beaten oil, sacrifices such as were made constantly at Mount Sinai, for a delightful offering to the ever-living, with a drink offering of 1/4 of a hin for each lamb to pour as a drink offering to Jehovah, and sacrifice the second lamb in the afternoon as a grateful pleasant perfume to the ever-living. But upon the Sabbath day, 2 perfect lambs of a year old, with 2/10 of fine flour mixed with the oil and the drink offering. That shall be the burnt offering for the Sabbath, as well as the perpetual burnt offerings with their drink offerings. And on the 1st of the month you shall present as a burnt offering to the ever-living 2 bullocks from the fold, and 1 ram with 7 perfect he-lambs of a year old, and 3/10 of fine flour mixed with oil as a food offering for a bullock, and 2/10 of fine flour mixed with oil as a food offering with a single ram, and 1/10 of an asheron of fine flour mixed with oil to 1 lamb, as a sacrifice of pleasant scent to the ever-living. And their drink offerings shall be 1/2 a hin for a bullock, and the 1/3 of a hin of wine for the ram, and 1/4 of a hin of wine for a lamb. This shall be the burnt offering month by month for every month of the year, with 1 ram of the goats for a sin offering to the ever-living. It shall be offered along with the perpetual burnt offering and the drink offering. In the 1st month also, on the 14th day of the month, is the Passover of the ever-living. And on the 15th day of this month shall be a festival of 7 days, when biscuits shall be eaten. On the 1st day proclaim a holy rest. You shall do no laboring work, but present as a sweet burnt offering to the ever-living 2 bullocks from the herd, and a ram, and 7 lambs of a year old. Perfect ones shall be chosen, with a food offering of 3/10 of fine flour mixed with oil for each bullock, and 2/10 offered with the ram. A single 1/10 shall be offered with each lamb of the 7 lambs. 1 he-goat also for a sin offering, to expiate for you. You shall offer these beside the sacrifice at daybreak, which is offered continually. Do the same daily for 7 days, offering bread as a sweet, delightful perfume to the ever-living. It must be offered besides the perpetual burnt offering and drink offering. Proclaim also that the 7th day shall be holy to you. You shall do no laboring work in it. And upon the day of firstfruits you shall present a bread offering from the land to the ever-living, when a holiday shall be proclaimed as a rest for you. You shall not do any laboring work in it, but present as a burnt offering, delightful to the ever-living, 2 bullocks from the herd, and a ram with 7 lambs of a year old, and as a bread offering, 3/10 of fine flour mixed with oil for each bullock, and 2/10 with a ram, with 1/10 of an asheron for each lamb, of the 7 lambs, and a he-goat to expiate for you, beside perpetual sacrifices and the bread offerings you offer daily. There shall be these with their drink offerings. Chapter 29. And in the 7th month you shall proclaim the 1st of the month holy to the ever-living. You shall do no servile work. Make it your day of rejoicing to the Lord, and offer as a burnt offering delightful to the ever-living a bullock from the fold, a ram, and 7 perfect lambs of a year old. And as a bread offering 3/10 of fine flour mixed with oil for the bullock, 2/10 with the ram, and 1/10 with each one of the 7 lambs, and a ram of the goats as a sin offering to expiate for you, beside the burnt offerings of the month, and the food offerings, and the perpetual sacrifices, and their bread offerings, and drink offerings as decreed, for a pleasant scent to the ever-living. And you shall proclaim the 10th of the 7th month holy to the ever-living, when you shall lower your lives and do no work, but offer in burnt offerings to the ever-living as a sweet perfume, a bullock from the herd, a ram, 7 perfect lambs of a year old, and as a bread offering 3/10 of fine flour mixed with oil for the bullock, 2/10 for the ram, the 10th of an asheron for each one of the 7 lambs, with a ram of the goats as a sin offering, beside the sin offerings of expiation, and the perpetual sacrifices, and the food offerings and drink offerings. And you shall also proclaim the 15th day of the 7th month holy to you. You shall not do any laboring work in it, but feast a festival to the ever-living for 7 days. Then you shall present as a burnt offering of delightful scent to Jehovah 13 bullocks, 2 rams, 14 he-lambs for a year old. They shall be perfect, with their food offerings of 3/10 of fine flour mixed with oil to each bullock of the 13 bullocks, 2/10 to each ram of the 2 rams, and 1/10 of an asheron to each of the lambs of the 14 lambs, with a he-goat as a sin offering, beside the perpetual food offerings and drink offerings. And upon the 2nd day 12 perfect bullocks from the herd, 2 rams, 14 lambs of a year old, with bread offerings and drink offerings for the bullocks, for the rams, and for the lambs by the rule as decreed, with a ram of the goats as a sin offering, beside the perpetual sacrifices with their bread and drink offerings. And upon the 3rd day 12 perfect bullocks, 2 rams, 14 lambs of a year old, with bread and drink offerings with the bullocks, rams, and lambs, according to the rule decreed, and a goat for a sin offering, beside the perpetual sacrifices, and their bread and drink offerings. And upon the 4th day 10 perfect bullocks, 2 rams, 14 lambs of a year old, with bread and drink offerings according to the rule decreed, and a he-goat for a sin offering, beside the perpetual sacrifices with their bread and drink offerings. And upon the 5th day 9 perfect bullocks, 2 rams, 14 lambs of a year old, with bread and drink offerings for the bullocks, for the rams, and for the lambs, according to the rule decreed, and a he-goat for a sin offering, beside the perpetual sacrifices with their bread and drink offerings. And upon the 6th day 8 perfect bullocks, 2 rams, 14 lambs of a year old, with bread and drink offerings for the bullocks, for the rams, and for the lambs, according to the rule decreed, with a he-goat for a sin offering, beside the perpetual sacrifices with their bread and drink offerings. And upon the 7th day 7 perfect bullocks, 2 rams, 14 lambs of a year old, with bread and drink offerings for the bullocks, the rams, and lambs, according to the rule decreed, and a he-goat for a sin offering, beside the perpetual sacrifices with their bread and drink offerings. And upon the 8th day you shall have a festival. You shall do no servile work, but present as a sacrifice of delightful scent to the ever-living a perfect bullock, a ram, and 7 lambs of a year old, with bread and drink offerings for the bullock, for the ram, and for the lambs, according to the rule decreed, with a he-goat for a sin offering, beside the perpetual sacrifices with their bread and drink offerings. You shall sacrifice these to the ever-living in your festival, beside your vows and freewill offerings, with your sacrifices, and your bread and drink offerings, and your thank offering. Chapter 30. Moses consequently reported to the children of Israel all that the ever-living commanded to Moses. Then Moses addressed the chiefs of the tribes of the children of Israel, saying,
This is the thing that the ever-living commands. A person who vows a vow to Jehovah, or swears an oath to bind his soul, shall not repudiate his word, but perform all that has come out of his mouth. And a woman who has vowed a vow to the ever-living, but who is yet in the house of her father in her youth, when her father hears of her vow, and the bond with which she has bound her soul, and her father is silent upon it, then every vow shall stand, and every bond shall stand with which she has bound her soul. But if her father comes to forbid her at the time he hears of any vow or bond with which she has bound her soul, it shall not stand, and Jehovah will release her, because her father forbids it. But if she has a husband, and she takes a vow upon her, or rashly utters from her lips what might bind her soul, when her husband hears of it, if he keeps silent to her at the time he hears, then the vow and bond with which she has bound her soul shall stand. But if at the time her husband hears of it, he prohibits it, then the vow which she has vowed upon herself, and the rash utterance of her lips by which she has bound her soul, shall be annulled, and the ever-living will release it. But the vow of a widow or a divorced woman, all that they bind upon their souls shall stand upon them. Yet if the mistress of a house binds a bond upon her soul with an oath, if when her husband hears of it he keeps silent to her, not forbidding it, then every vow and every bond which she has bound upon her soul shall stand. But if at the time her husband hears it he annuls them, all that came out of her lips as a vow or a bond upon her soul shall not stand. Her husband has annulled it, and the ever-living will release it. Every vow and every oath binding to afflict the soul, her husband may confirm and her husband may annul. But if her husband keeps silent to her from day to day, then he confirms them, for he was silent to her at the time he heard. But if he annuls them after having heard of them, then he takes away any blame. These are the laws that the ever-living commanded to Moses about husband and wife, and about father and young girl in the house of her father. The end of chapters 25 through 30. Chapters 31 through 36 of the Book of Numbers, from the Holy Bible in Modern English, translated by FERRAR FENTON. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapter 31. The ever-living spoke to Moses and said, Arouse the children of Israel against the Midianites after you have enumerated your people. Moses therefore spoke to the people, saying, Select from yourselves officers for a war with the Midianites, for the Lord has ordered an advance against Midian, of 1,000 from each tribe, from all the tribes of Israel, to go upon an expedition. So they massed from the tribes of Israel, by 1,000 from each tribe, 12,000 chosen for the war. And Moses sent the 1,000 from each tribe to the war, with Phinehas the son of Eleazar the priest, and the sacred furniture, and the gongs in his possession to encourage them. These made war against Midian as the ever-living commanded Moses, and slew every leader. They also slew the kings of Midian in the slaughter, Air, and Rechem, and Sur, and Kur, and Rabbah, the 5 kings of Midian, and also slew Balaam the son of Beor with the sword. Then the children of Israel took possession of the women of Midian, with their children, and all the cattle, and all their property, and all their people, as booty, with all the villages which they inhabited, and burnt all their furniture with fire, and carried off all the plunder and all the spoil from the field and from the person.
Then they brought the captives to Moses and Eleazar the priest, and to the parliament of the children of Israel, along with the plunder and the booty, to the camp at the fords of Moab, which was beside the torrent near Jericho. Then Moses and Eleazar the priest, with all the princes of the parliament, went out to meet them outside the camp. But Moses was angry with the officers of the army, the colonels of regiments, and captains of companies, who returned with the army from the war. And Moses asked them, "Why have you kept the women alive? What were they to the children of Israel under the advice of Balaam? They seduced them to desert the ever-living in the affair of Peor, and they brought a pestilence upon the congregation of Jehovah. Now therefore kill every male child, and every woman who has known man sexually, kill! But let every young girl who has not known a man sexually live for yourselves. Also pitch your tents outside the camp for 7 days, all who have killed a person or been wounded in battle. You must be cleansed from defilement at the 6th day, and on the 7th day, you and your prisoners, and all your clothing, and every article of leather, and all fabrics of hair, and every article of wood, shall be cleansed." Then Eleazar the priest said to the commanders of the army who came from the war, "This is the constitutional law which the ever-living has commanded to Moses. All the gold and the silver, and the brass and the iron, the tin and the lead, all things which can resist fire, you shall put through the fire to purify them. But everything that is not able to endure fire shall be cleansed by passing through water, by washing in water. You shall also wash your clothes on the 7th day, and purify yourselves, and afterwards you may enter the camp." The ever-living also spoke to Moses, and said, "You and Eleazar and the princes of the fathers of the parliament, take an account of the booty of the prisoners, both of the men and of the cattle, and divide the booty among the captors of the brigade who brought it from the campaign, and among all their people. But take off a tax from them for the ever-living from the soldiers who actually went into battle, 1 head from 500 of the men, and of the cattle, and of the asses, and of the sheep. You shall take it from their share, and give it to Eleazar the priest as a tax for the ever-living. But from the share for the children of Israel you shall take 1 from every 50 of the men, of the cattle, and of the asses, and of the sheep, and from all the animals, and give them to the Levites who form the guard of the sanctuary of the ever-living." Moses and Eleazar therefore did as Jehovah commanded to Moses. And the prize, beside the plunder that the people plundered in the army, was of sheep 675,000, and of cattle 72,000, and of asses 61,000, and of persons, with the girls who had not known man sexually, all the human individuals were 32,000. But the half of the booty that came to the army was, from the number of sheep 337,500. And the tax of the Lord from the sheep was 675, and of cattle 36,000, and the tax to the Lord 72, and of asses 30,500, and the tax for the Lord was 61, and of human beings 16,000, and the tax for the ever-living 32 persons. And Moses gave the taxes which were the Lord's as a raised offering to Eleazar the priest, as the ever-living commanded to Moses. But the portion of the children of Israel, which Moses took from the soldiers, and which was the share of the parliament, was of sheep 337,500, and of cattle 36,000, and of asses 30,500, and of human beings 16,000. Moses also took from this share of the children of Israel 1 from every 50, both of the men and of the beasts, and gave them to the Levites of the guard who guarded the sanctuary of the ever-living, as the Lord commanded to Moses. Then the officers of the regiments of the army, the colonels of regiments, and the captains of companies, presented themselves to Moses, and said to Moses, "Your servants were promoted to be the chief commanders in the campaign which is in our hand, and not a man of us is missing. Therefore we present this gift to the ever-living, each from what he has found of articles of gold, anklets and bracelets, seals, earrings and beads, to expiate for our persons before the ever-living, for our lives." Moses and Eleazar the priest therefore accepted from them all these articles made of gold. And the weight of the gold presented to the ever-living by the colonels of the regiments and the captains of companies was 16,750 shekels, for the commanders in the army had each plundered for themselves. So Moses and Eleazar the priest accepted the gold from the commanders of regiments and companies, and brought it into the hall of assembly as a remembrance from the children of Israel before Jehovah. Chapter 32. But the number of cattle belonging to the sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad was very numerous, and they saw that the district of Jazer and the district of Gilead were places for cattle. So the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben came to Moses and Eleazar the priest, and the princes of the parliament, to say,
Ataroth, and Diban, and Nimrah, and Keshbon, and Elalah, and Shibma, and Nebo, and Ban, the country that the ever-living has conquered before the commonwealth of Israel, is a place for cattle, and your servants possess cattle. And, they continued, if then your servants have found favor in your eyes, give this district to your servants to possess, and we will not pass over the Jordan.
But Moses said to the sons of Gad and to the sons of Reuben,
Your brothers are going over the Jordan, and would you stay here? Why should you discourage the hearts of the children of Israel from passing to the country which the ever-living has given to them? Your fathers did the same when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to survey the country, when they proceeded to the brook of Ashkal, and examined the country, and discouraged the hearts of the children of Israel, so that they would not go to the land which the ever-living had given them. And the anger of Jehovah burnt at that time, and he declared, saying, The men who come up out of the Mizraim from 20 years old and upwards shall not see the country which I promised to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, for they are not sincerely following me, except Caleb the son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, and Joshua the son of Nun, who sincerely followed the ever-living. The anger of Jehovah consequently burned against Israel, and they wandered 40 years in the wilderness, until all that generation who had done wrong in the sight of the ever-living had died. And now you arise in the place of your fathers to continue the burning anger of the Lord against Israel, for you are turning back from him, and will cause him to retain them in the wilderness, and consume all this people.
But they pressed upon him and said, We will build folds to guard our sheep, and cities for our children, but we ourselves are ready for action, and will advance ardently before the children of Israel to their districts wherever they may go. But our children can rest in the fortified towns, guarded from the inhabitants of the country. We will not return to our homes until the children of Israel have each been put into possession of his estate. And we will not inherit over the Jordan, nor westward, but our possessions shall be to the east of the fords of the Jordan.
Then Moses replied to them, If you will do this, if you will be ready for action before the ever-living in the war, and pass fully armed over the Jordan before the ever-living until his enemies are driven from before him, when the country is subdued to Jehovah, you may return, and this district shall be given you from the ever-living, and from Israel, and this country shall be yours to possess it in the presence of the Lord. But if you will not do so, then you will sin against the ever-living, and you know the punishment for sin that will meet you. You can build towns for your children, and folds for your flocks, and return when you have done so.
The sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben replied to Moses, saying, Your servants will do as our Lord commands. Our children, wives, and cattle shall be here in the cities of Gilead, but your servants will pass over fully equipped for war with the army of the ever-living, as your lordship has said. Then Moses convoked Eleazar the priest, and Joshua the son of Nun, and the chief fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel. And Moses said to them, If the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben pass over the Jordan fully equipped for the war of the ever-living, and subdue the country before you, then you shall give them the land of Gilead for a possession. But if they do not go over ready for action, then they shall only inherit in the land of Canaan. The sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben answered, saying, Your servants will do what the ever-living has said. We will pass over fully equipped before the ever-living to the land of Canaan, and we will possess our inheritance on this side of the Jordan. So Moses gave to the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, the kingdoms of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and the kingdoms of Og, king of Bashan, the land and its towns, with the surrounding country of the villages. So the sons of Gad built Diban, and Ataroth, and Arar, and Ataroth-Shuphan, and Jazer, and Igbakha, and Beth-Minrah, and Beth-Horon, fortified towns, with folds for sheep. And the sons of Reuben built Keshbon, and Alela, Kiriathaim, and Athbano, and Athbalmeon, changing its name, and Sibma, and they called Bethmoth Shemoth. These were the towns they built. Then the sons of Machir, the son of Manasseh, marched to Gilad, and captured it, and drove out the Amorites who were in it. So Moses gave Gilad to Machir, the descendant of Manasseh, and he occupied it. Then Yair, the son of Manasseh, marched and captured some forts, and called them the forts of Yair. Then Nobach marched and captured Kenneth, and its villages, and named it Nobach, after his own name. Chapter 33. These are the marches of the children of Israel who came under the direction of Moses and Aaron from the land of the Mitzrayim by their armies, for Moses registered their advance by marches, by instructions from the ever-living, and these are the marches they advanced by. They marched first from Ramesses in the 1st month, upon the 15th day of the 1st month. After the morning of the Passover, the children of Israel advanced with a high hand in the sight of all Mitzrayim, whilst the Mitzrites were burying those whom Jehovah had killed among them, all their firstborn. And Jehovah also executed justice upon their gods. So the children of Israel marched from Ramesses, and pitched their tents at Skuth. Then they marched from Skuth, and pitched at Atham, which is on the border of the desert. Then they marched from Atham, and pitched and occupied the mouth of Hakeroth, which is opposite Bel-Zephon, and pitched before the fortress. Then they marched from Hakeroth, and passed over through the sea to the desert, and advanced in that direction 3 days to the desert of Atham, and pitched at Marah. Then they marched from Marah, and came to Ailam, and there were at Ailam 12 springs of water, and 70 palm trees, so they pitched there. Then they returned from Ailam, and pitched at the sea of Suf. Then they marched from the sea of Suf, and pitched in the desert of Zin. Then they marched from the desert of Zin, and pitched at Dophakah. Then they marched from Dophakah, and pitched in Alush. Then they marched from Alush, and pitched in Rephidim, but there was no water there for the people to drink. Then they marched from Rephidim, and pitched in the desert of Sinai. Then they marched from the desert of Sinai, and pitched in Kibroth Hattavah. Then they marched from Kibroth Hattavah, and pitched in Katzeroth. Then they marched from Katzeroth, and pitched in Rithmah. Then they marched from Rithmah, and pitched in Rimmon-Pharetz. Then they marched from Rimmon-Pharetz, and pitched in Libnah. Then they marched from Libnah, and pitched in Rissah. Then they marched from Rissah, and pitched in Calatha. Then they marched from Calatha, and pitched at Mount Shafir. Then they marched from Mount Shafir, and pitched in Karadah. Then they marched from Karadah, and pitched in Makloth. Then they marched from Makloth, and pitched in Thakath. Then they marched from Thakath, and pitched in Tharak. Then they marched from Tharak, and pitched in Mithaka. Then they marched from Mithaka, and pitched in Kashmona. Then they marched from Kashmona, and pitched in Moseroth. Then they marched from Moseroth, and pitched in among the Beni Yaakan. Then they marched from the Beni Yaakan, and pitched in the vale of Gadgad. Then they marched from the vale of Gadgad, and encamped in Yatbatha. Then they marched from Yatbatha, and encamped in Abarona. Then they marched from Abarona, and encamped in Atzin-Geber. Then they marched from Atzin-Geber, and encamped in the desert of Zin. Then they marched from Kadesh, and encamped at the Peak Hill, on the borders of the land of Moab. And Aaron the priest ascended the Peak Hill by the order of the ever-living, and died there, in the 40th year from the coming of the children of Israel out of Mitzar, on the 1st of the 5th month. And Aaron was 123 years old at his death on the Peak Hill. When the Canaanite king of Arad heard that the children of Israel were advancing by the south country, he occupied the Peak Hill. So they marched from the Peak Hill, and encamped at Zalmonah. Then they marched from Zalmonah, and encamped at Phonan. Then they marched from Phonan, and encamped at Aboth. Then they marched from Aboth, and encamped at Avi, at the passes, on the border of Moab. Then they marched from Avi, and encamped at Dibon-Gad. Then they marched from Dibon-Gad, and encamped at Alman. Then they marched from Alman by Diblathaim, and encamped at the hills of the passes, opposite to Nebo. Then they marched from the hills of the passes, and encamped at the fords of Moab, on the Jordan. Then they extended along the Jordan from Beth Yeshimoth to the acacia meadows upon the fords of Moab. There the ever-living spoke to Moses at the fords of Moab, opposite Jericho, commanding, "Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, Now you are about to pass over the Jordan to the land of Canaan. You shall drive out all the possessors of that country before you, and destroy them and their towers, and destroy all those bronze idols, and destroy all their high places, and seize the country. For I have given the land to you to possess, but you shall divide the land by lots to your families. To the large you shall increase the portions, and to the small you shall lessen the portions. Whatever lot falls to any one shall be his, and apportioned to him in the tribe of his fathers. But if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land who occupy it, the remainder of them will be pricks in your eyes, and thorns in your sides, and a torment to you in the land where you reside. And I will do to you as I intended to do to them." Chapter 34. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, to say, "Command the children of Israel, and say to them, Now you are come to the land of Canaan, the land which has fallen to you to inherit, the land of Canaan with her surroundings. And they shall be yours on the south side from the wilderness of Zin, on the borders of Edom. These are your borders south, from the end of the salt sea eastward, and along from there your boundary towards the south shall be from the ascent of Akrabim, and across to Zin, then turn up from the south to Kadesh Barnea, and proceed to the castle of Adar, and pass over to Atzinar. Then the boundary turning from Atzmon towards the river of Mitzer shall proceed to the west, and your boundary shall be the sea, the great sea. That shall be your boundary on the west. And this shall be your boundary on the north. You shall mark out from the great sea at the hill of hills. From the hill of hills you shall mark out to the pass of Kamoth, and take a line to the borders of Zada. Thence your northern boundary shall start and proceed to Katzar Ainan. That shall be your border to the north. Then you shall mark your eastern boundary from Katzar Ainan to Shaphna, and the frontier shall run from Shaphna, with Riblah on the east, to Ain, where the line shall descend and extend to the eastern border of the lake of Kinneroth. Thence the frontier shall run by the Jordan and extend to the salt sea. This shall be your country with its surrounding bounds." Therefore Moses commanded the children of Israel, saying, "This is the country which you shall divide by lot, which the ever-living has commanded to give to the 9½ tribes, because the tribe of Reuben have taken for their ancestors' house, and the tribe of the sons of Gad for their ancestors' house, with the house of Ephraim and the half-tribe of Manasseh have taken their share. These 2 tribes and the half-tribe have taken their shares before the Jordan, opposite Jericho." The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, "These 2 men shall divide the land for you, Eleazar the priest, and Joshua the son of Nun, with 1 prince from each of the tribes who shall superintend the division of the land. And these are the names of the men. From the tribe of Judah, Caleb the son of Jephunneh. From the tribe of the sons of Simeon, Shamuel the son of Ammihud. From the tribe of Benjamin, Elidad the son of Kislon. From the tribe of the sons of Dan, Prince Bukai the son of Iglai. From the sons of Joseph, from the tribe of the sons of Manasseh, Prince Canial the son of Aphod. From the tribe of the sons of Ephraim, Prince Kemuel the son of Shiftan. From the tribe of the sons of Zebulun, Prince Elizaphan the son of Padnak. From the tribe of the sons of Issachar, Prince Phaltiel the son of Azan. From the tribe of the sons of Asher, Achihud the son of Shalmai. From the tribe of the sons of Naphtali, Prince Phidal the son of Ammihud. The ever-living commands these to divide the land of Canaan to the children of Israel. Chapter 35. The ever-living spoke to Moses at the fords of Moab by the Jordan opposite Jericho, saying, "Command the children of Israel that they must give to the Levites as a heritable portion towns for residence, with pastures around those towns for the Levites. And the towns shall be for their residence, and the pastures for their cattle and their animals. The pastures which you are to give to the Levites outside the walls of the towns shall be a space of 2,000 cubits. You shall thus measure from the outside wall of the towns, on the eastern side, 2,000 cubits, and on the south side 2,000 cubits, and on the west side 2,000 cubits, and on the north side 2,000 cubits, with the town in the center. These shall be the pasture lands of those towns. You shall also assign to the Levites these towns, 6 cities of refuge to be provided for manslayers. and beside them provide 42 cities, a total of 48. All these towns shall be assigned to the Levites, being for them and their pasturage. But the towns that you assign from the children of Israel shall be according to their numbers, large, and according to their fewness, small. Each according to the extent of the district which they inherit shall give towns to the Levites. According to their shares they shall assign equivalent towns to the Levites. The Ever-Living also spoke to Moses, commanding, "Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, You are now about to pass over the Jordan to the land of Canaan. Therefore appoint for yourselves cities of refuge, that manslayers who have cut off a life by accident may fly to them. And they shall be your cities of refuge from the avenger, so that the fugitive may not be killed until he has stood in the presence of a jury for trial. Therefore shall you appoint 6 cities of refuge for yourselves. You shall appoint 3 of the cities on this side the Jordan, and 3 cities in the land of Canaan, to be cities of refuge for the children of Israel and for foreigners residing among you. These 3 cities shall be cities of refuge for everyone who has cut off a life by accident. Thus if he strikes any with an instrument of iron, and he dies, he is a manslayer. The manslayer would be killed. Or if he throws a stone which wounds mortally, and the wounded dies, he is a manslayer. The manslayer would be killed. Or strikes with an instrument of wood a deadly blow, and the wounded dies from it, he is a manslayer. The manslayer would be killed. The avenger would kill the wounder. He would kill the wounder when found, would kill him. But if from hatred he stabs or shoots at one from a hiding place, and kills, or from hatred strikes with his hand and kills, he shall be killed who has struck the wound. The avenger of blood shall kill the wounder when he finds him. But if undesignedly, not from enmity, one stabs or shoots another with any instrument, not treacherously, or kills with a stone, not having seen, or it falls upon a person who dies, whom he did not hate and did not seek to injure, then the jury shall judge between the accused and the avenger according to these rules, and the jury shall deliver the accused from the hand of the avenger. But the jury shall assign him to the city of refuge to which he shall go, and stay there until the death of the high priest, who has been consecrated with the oil of consecration. But if the manslayer goes beyond the boundaries of the city of refuge to which he has fled, and the avenger of blood meets him outside the bounds of the city of refuge, then the avenger of blood may kill the slayer without blood being upon himself. For he ought to have remained in the city of refuge until the death of the high priest. But after the death of the high priest, the manslayer may reside in his own district. These shall be constitutional laws to your descendants in all your residences. Whoever cuts off a life, the slayer shall be slain on the evidence of 2 witnesses, but upon the evidence of 1 you shall not condemn a person to death. And you shall not take any ransom for a life. The manslayer who mortally injures shall die a death. You shall also not accept a ransom from the refugee to a city of refuge to return to rest in the country until the death of the priest, so that you may not corrupt the land you reside in. For blood pollutes the land, and the land will not cover the blood that is shed upon it, for the life is in the blood. Consequently you shall not defile the land you dwell in, amidst which I encamp. For I, the Ever-Living, encamp in the midst of the children of Israel. Chapter 36. The ancestral chiefs of the family of the sons of Gilad, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh of the family of the son of Joseph, came before Moses and the presence of the princes, the ancestral chiefs of the children of Israel, and said, The Ever-Living commanded our prince to apportion the land by lot to the children of Israel. And the prince was commanded by the Ever-Living to give the share of Zelophehad our brother to his daughters. But they may take any one of the sons of the tribes of Israel for a husband, and carry away their shares from the shares of our families, and thus lessen the portions of the tribe to which they belong, and take away from our allotted share. And when the Jubilee comes to the children of Israel, then that portion will be added to the portion of the tribe to which they have gone, and the share of the tribe of our fathers will lose their shares. Consequently Moses commanded the children of Israel by instruction from the Ever-Living, saying, The argument of the sons of the tribe of Joseph is fair. This is the order of the Ever-Living to the daughters of Zelophehad. They may decide to be wives to anyone who is good in their eyes, but their husband shall be only from a family of their father's tribe, so that the portions of the children of Israel may not be removed from tribe to tribe. For all the portions of the ancestral houses of the children of Israel shall be kept together. Therefore any daughter inheriting an estate in any of the tribes of the children of Israel shall become the wife of one from her father's tribe, so that the children of Israel may each inherit the share of his father. For no estate shall change from tribe to tribe. After each portion has been allotted, it shall be kept in the same tribe of the children of Israel. The daughters of Zelophehad accordingly did as the ever-living commanded to Moses. And the daughters of Zelophehad, Machlah, Tirzah, Kaglah, and Milcah, and Noah, were given as wives to the sons of their uncles, of the family of the sons of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, they were their wives. Thus their portions remained in the tribe of Manasseh their father. These were the commands and the institutions which the ever-living ordained through the medium of Moses to the children of Israel at the fords of Moab, by the Jordan, beyond Jericho. The end of chapters 31 through 36, and the end of the Book of Numbers, from the Holy Bible in Modern English, translated by FERRAR FENTON. Recording by Mark Penfold.